He's been keeping a somewhat low profile.
Forgot. There you go.
Well, I did this. Why can't you? What? 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 What?
Wow, people are very butthurt about the Gutfeld video. That's funny.
Coming to defend their man.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
Greg Gutfield is great.
Why can't you?
Y'all are uneducated and confused.
Why can't you? Why can't you? I did this. Why can't you? Have you ever been wrong? I was like, no. Drug.
Oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to be doing.
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Why can't
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. We're gonna need our chat to be drug tested.
I'm gonna need you to be drug. Why can't you? I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to be. Why can't you? I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to be drug. Why can't you?
All right, good morning, everybody. And this Bin Podcast Network production is brought to you by our loyal patrons whose continued support helps us play it again, damn it. Keeps the lights on. So thank you to Tons of Mice, Leclerc Vert, Dutch, Ollie, Hayden, and Russell. I think I nailed it. Hello,
I think you got it there.
Tim.
Should we promo for the new stuff that's on the Patreon? Because I saw there was a bunch of new stuff on the Patreon.
Promo that.
So,
that.
Brenna is doing a thing on Patreon.
Won't somebody please think of the children? What kind of...
It's some sort of video essay about movies. Is she
Yes.
reviewing movies?
She's going through the list of like 1,000 movies you should watch before you die.
Oh. And what's the one up on Patreon right now?
Citizen Kane.
Ooh, an oldie but a goodie.
Mm-hmm. She's going through like the Criterion.
One of those things.
You know, the film collective.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever they're called.
Yeah. Until they disappear.
Forever.
Forever. And Mikey, before we get into, I'm sure, the horrifying things that we're going to discuss, I have a bit of banter for you.
Bants. How dare
Some
you?
bants.
How dare you?
I was thinking about this in the car on the way home from work the other day. I was listening to some tunes, and
tunes.
like System of a Down came over the radio.
Delicious tunes.
And I was thinking, what are songs that like the first 5 seconds of that song gets you like fucking pumped, gets you like, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, this song, yes.
It's easy, man. It's easy. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. You got a real thing going now. Welcome to the Space Jam. It's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right. Oh my God, dude. Space Jam will get me lit at any point, anywhere. I don't care what I'm wearing, what I'm supposed to be doing. It's going down for real. Man, Space Jam is the best song ever. Can't not get hyped to it.
Yeah, you can't. I totally missed on that one. Space Jam's a good one.
You can't be in a bad mood. It could be anything, but if Space Jam comes on, it just activates you. Just activate. It's just internal. If you remember when Bugs needed MJ's help, and you had the VHS with the little coin in it, there's just a special part of your brain that is reserved for that.
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't heard that song in forever, and now I'm gonna have to listen to it.
I was about to play it, but I was like, we're gonna get fucking.
Oh yeah, I don't get copyright.
Oh my God,
sure.
The Warner Brothers would be like, thank you very much.
We're so close to monetization, we can't afford it right now.
No, I should have did this earlier in our tenure.
For me, it's like most System songs.
Yeah.
I feel like most of their songs have very like amped openings. Or
Prison
do
song.
Prison
Prison
song
song.
for sure. Prison song and BYOB.
Yes.
I would also say Du Hast by Rammstein. I can never not like. Yeah, like you can't not get pumped for that song.
Dude, that's the drums for Team Nate. I think that's where my brain took that from. My brain sampled it and said, "Hey, I want that." That's the Team Nate drums.
Yeah.
It is a Rammstein kind of song, isn't it?
A little bit.
Huh. Now that you say that.
Man.
Let's say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Diz. Kay. SG. Billy. Russell. Oh, I missed. Scott. Mike, you been drink? No, I have coffee. It's 11.
Yeah, it's the morning for Mikey.
Oh, Annie up. Yeah, Defo. Oh, man, yeah. What's like, oh, now? MIP now. Oh, my God. Yeah, good Bus. Oh, man, Bus of Rhyme songs also get me.
Yeah.
Ooh, old Pitbull. Like Mr. 305 Pitbull.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, what's that Mexican song? It's like man, that shit's kind of lit too. I believe in a thing called love. That'll get me. If that plays in a bar, I have to get up on top of something and start belting. Put my leg up on something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good one.
In the chat, what songs get you amped?
What's your Rammstein's angle is poetic, like Aerials by System of a Down. Aerials is like the number one lighter song out there.
I know. Oh man, I it doesn't matter what System song it is, man.
Ooh, you know what else? Rage Against the Machine will get me turned up. Guerrilla Radio will get me ready to either skateboard, fight, fucking. I could clean the kitchen.
Yep.
I'm on
Killing
100.
in the name of.
Oh, bam, 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 bam. That's my shit. See, songs don't really. There's not a lot of modern songs that kind of can.
Yeah.
Make me pop like that. Unfortunately.
But them's the breaks.
I'm working on my album. I'm actually getting some tracking done.
Ooh.
I'm done planning. I'm organizing now, damn it. I'm song selecting. I'm making decisions. It's terrifying. I hate it. I hate it. Why can't I just make a 17-hour album and I just let you guys listen to all the stuff I have in my thing, and then like that's just the album, and then like there have to be an order. You just kind of absorb it.
Mikey, you gotta wait until like your I'm over this artistic period when you can release like a 20-hour album that you're like, these are all the songs the studio didn't want me to play.
So here's the thing. That's kind of how I've always been. Like, I didn't know avant-garde was a thing, but apparently like the method acting with music, no one cares. You know, it's not. It's only important to you. But such is life. Renegades of Funk, banger. Uptown Funk, Uptown. Oh, there's some Bruno songs that 24 Karat Magic. That'll get me too.
Oh, that's a good one.
Bruno and Anderson .Paak song will get me too. That's Smoking Out the Window. Good.
Shane Cake says Paramore is Queen.
I like Paramore.
Ain't it fun? Striker,
ain't it fun?
Big Striker says Bodies by Drowning Pool.
Ban that fool in the chat. That dangerous neo-Nazi. Al Trucker, what's up, dude? I wonder, like it's too bad. Like a lot of the like harder metal groups I used to listen to kind of had to cut them off because they're kind of kind of skinhead, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, some of them, and it's like, damn it, dude, why? Why do you have to ruin everything?
Yeah. I mean, at least like System and Rage have like the right politics, I suppose.
Yeah, who knew that at Linkin Park? Who knew that
Linkin Park.
who knew that those rock bands would radicalize us?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I guess I would be probably different if I didn't listen to like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I think that if I'd never listened to like Rage or System or Linkin Park, like, boy, my politics might be a little different.
Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to just go around to red areas and like, yo, dude, you ever heard Steal this album? Check this shit out. Fuck you up, man. Fucking change your life, man.
Man, there's a version of Killing in the Name of they did live, and they changed one of the lyrics to like, those who burn crosses are the same who hold office, and I was like, holy shit.
Jordan Poole wasn't the neo-Nazi. That was a guy from Disturbed. Wouldn't surprise. Five Finger Death Punch. Aren't they conservative like AC/DC? There's a few of them, man. And then there's also like the undercurrent. Because I was in the metal scene in Chicago for a little bit. There's like a undercurrent of just like no blacks allowed, no gays allowed, no, you know what I mean? No girls allowed. And it's kind of like this incel, thou must be the most brutal kind of exclusionary culture. But
it's so weird when it like gets that way, because like some of that metal is very niche.
Yeah.
Some of that metal is very like, you know, you get into like metalcore and like industrial metal and like death metal and all that. And like that stuff's already not for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you're telling people that they can't listen to your music, you're just limiting your audience.
But for them, I think it was more or less like, because our band was always like middle of the bill. We never headlined and we were never like really opening. So we're always like somewhere in the middle. And just the shit I would get like before the show started, you know, like everybody wanted to be my buddy after they saw us go up. But before we went up, and I mean, I had my little fro back then, and then I was kind of, well, I'm still the same way, still awkward and all that shit. But it's just weird that motherfuckers aren't like, hey, what's going on, bro? We're from so and so. We're playing out of this. What kind of guitar? Like, I didn't get the chatty shit. I always got like motherfuckers making sure the cases are locked and all this other. You know what I mean? Like typical discriminatory dog shit, which was it just made it not fun to do shows.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Still, we still won at the end of it all. But since we have some of our UK friends here, let's see. Asking Londoner says, Political X, would you holiday in Trump's USA?
I'm going to say they all said yes.
Of course they want to come here. They're coming here right now.
We actively avoided taking a holiday there in February, and we went to South Africa instead.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts?
You go first. Get some quality up in this bitch. What the hell?
I mean, there's so much going on at the moment, but on the other side, there's so much to explore in that country as well. So, I'm doubting. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, just do it, guys.
I guess well, but I think obviously right now it's a bit, controversial to go. I mean, my sister, she lives in the US, and I think she really doesn't like it. But I think if it's just a short-term holiday, it's not that bad. But if you're going for like an extended amount of time, like 3 months or something, that would be bad.
Probably stay in the cities.
Yeah.
Al Trucker says, as a Canadian, I'm planning no travel to the USA unless paid to truck there. And just says, no, sorry guys, in no hurry. David Blase.
I like how the guy on the right was like, we're gonna stay in the cities.
Yeah.
Fuck rural America.
He doesn't even know what to call it.
You prefer the cities?
I don't want to go in like the middle bit.
The middle bit.
I don't want to go.
Hey, fuck you, kid. All right.
Nobody wants to go to the middle bits.
It's not the Midlands. Assholes. Fucking racist assholes. It's called the Midwest. We're not flyover country, damn it.
That's right, Mike. You live near there.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
we're gonna be fine, okay? Won't need your fucking pity. You're in just as much of a suburb as me. I got a big city right next to me too.
But at least I live on the East Coast.
You're not by the coast.
I don't live in the middle, but I'm like literally 5 miles away from the coast.
I got a coast at Lake Michigan right there. It's right there. What do I need a coast for? Extra snow? Keep it.
No, you need a coast so you can escape.
So the boat can get to the next island.
Midwest.
Anywhere that's not in the fight.
I would do it just for the reason I wouldn't give away, as you said, this huge opportunity, that country, to those.
Hold on. Shout out to this homegirl pretend jogging right here. Hold on. Look at this. This is so animated. Look at this jog.
Anywhere that's not in the fight.
Oh, man.
I would do it just for the reason
I
wouldn't
am
give
working
away, as you
out.
said, this
Working
huge
out is what
opportunity
I'm
that country
doing. Oh, a
to
camera.
those people, like dictating. Unfortunately, they have a lot of say there, and that's their politics, what they set the scene for. But there's still good things to do there. But would I go there with my kids?
No, there's not.
Probably not. Would I go there like for business trips? Yes, definitely. Like
He said, I love money. I will risk it.
Will I bring my children? Absolutely not.
No, I like them.
New York, definitely. Is still a good hub for business.
Is this what y'all do in the UK? Y'all just be having fucking weirs and waterfalls and shit and channels just right next, and people just walking in their business clothes? Like, what is this?
That shit is very walkable.
I mean, this is crazy.
When I went over there, I didn't go to the UK. I went to Ireland, but the shit, like Dublin, the craziest, like most walkable city I've ever been to.
This is weird.
You could walk anywhere. Public transportation is everywhere. Like, we didn't rent a car. We spent 2 weeks in Dublin, didn't rent a car. There's no need to. You can walk everywhere.
Or did they just make you walk?
No, we chose to. I mean, we took the bus.
They just make you. All right, let me copy.
It's not all fucking like suburbs like it is here.
Yeah, we have stroads out here.
Yeah.
Which are the worst.
Yeah.
Stroads are not your friend. All right, I posted in the chat right now Daily Blase's channel. Everybody go there and sub, please, and thank you.
One sub, Daily Blase.
Do it or I'll sick Tim on you. I'll do it. I'm crazy.
I'll get him.
So at the moment, it's out of the question at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brother man, keeping it real. I appreciate you.
Why is that?
Funds, man, everything is down.
Yeah, I would. Like, there's like lots of beautiful places in America I would like to go to. Like, there's a nice town.
She might blend in, but then she looks like a liberal. She may not want to come.
Yeah, she may not want to leave the cities.
She'll be like, undyed your hair blue, did you? I knew it.
Parks and like, it's still like a really beautiful country. So
I don't think I would right now.
And what puts you off?
I think the political situation with
I had no political situation.
Mr. Trump and Mr. Musk would make me think twice about going there. If there was somewhere else to go, I'd go there. If I was going to see family, I would go, but if it was a choice, I probably wouldn't.
You know, I lived in the US and I have many friends in the US, so I would take a holiday, but obviously, you know, I would avoid probably certain places.
I'm asking people today about where
I've heard enough.
They don't want to come here. Listen, don't come to America. It's not good.
But Tim, we do have visitors.
Oh.
Oh wait, I was supposed to. Hold on. Vamp. Where did I put it? Oh shit! I knew I shouldn't have recorded so many. Okay.
Might want to start paring those down a little bit.
Let's. Oh, do not select all. Okay, this one.
Oh my God, what sound would how would that work? Would it play them all at once?
Not that one. What, this one? This one? There we go. We have had visitors, Tim. We have had visitors.
Hey, welcome back, and guess what? There is some brand new UAP video that just dropped, possibly shot from a Navy ship, once again, off the coast of Southern California, which for some...
They're coming to pick me up! Yay!
They're coming to pick up Brenna. You ain't near San Diego.
They missed. I'm over here. I'm over here.
Some reason, like, has been this very, very weird hotspot for all kinds of unidentified flying objects that don't seem to care that there are all kinds of Navy warships that are out there training. Now, quick refresh about why this area matters so much. 2004, we've all seen this video that was showing what was described by Navy pilots flying off the USS Nimitz as a white Tic Tac that was zooming around and way.
Tim, did you see the original Tic Tac video?
Yes.
Okay. I hope you guys did out there too.
And speeds.
Because I'm not pulling it up.
They just could not explain. In 2019, sailors on the USS Russell, again, off the coast of San Diego, seeing what they described in night vision goggles as upside down pyramids. And then brings us to today.
Like a
this
giant
new
Dorito.
Doritos are coming.
Infrared video just released by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, showing what he says was an incident on the USS Jackson. It's one of these littoral ships, one of the highest.
I'm sorry, USS Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
Ships that we have in our arsenal. And according to Corbell, Navy sailors were actively tracking one of 4 unknown objects observed going in and out of the water. No heat plumes, no exhaust, nothing. And here is how one of the witnesses on board the ship described it.
Perhaps, and, and this is just me, there's dust on the lens.
The Tic Tac clearly looks like something on the display, but it is what it is.
Out to the bridge wing, I'm noticing things and lights on the horizon, and like city lights or any other ships that are out there. So seeing a light that is lifting up, you can see it. I know the difference between a light on the horizon coming up and a light coming out of the water. When you've been on the water more in your life than you haven't been, you know the difference.
Now let's get into it with Jeremy Corbell, one of the hosts.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I saw shit. Like, that was probably the worst footage I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like going from super light to super dark. I'm pretty sure my astigmatism is worse at having watched that. Was that convincing to you? Do you feel like that was a craft?
I am a person who tends to believe that there must be other forms of life out there. I'm not sure they're interested in Earth. Especially what we're doing to the planet. Maybe I'm not gonna say no. It's not like you're telling me there's ghosts out there, and I'm like, that's just not true. But
because it clearly is. Yeah.
Yeah, aliens and UFOs. Maybe. I'm skeptical, but not dismissive. I feel.
If these guys can travel intergalactically, why the hell are they splashing around in the ocean? They'd go to a city with all the big ass lights and be like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? What y'all doing? How you doing? How are you?"
You know? I mean, that's based off like our understanding of us. What if they like don't have water where they're from? And like they're like, what the fuck is this?
They don't have the most abundant fucking molecule ever.
Well,
of course
maybe
they do.
They have hydrogen, but they don't have like water.
Yes, they do. There is oxygen everywhere. There is hydrogen literally everywhere. It's like one of the most abundant. These are like the most abundant things. And why would he could have stopped at? They could have stopped at any of the moons around Saturn that have way more water than us. Like, we're not even the water hub.
Oh my God, Mikey! Speaking of which, this triggered my ADD for a moment. But I watched this. I watched this video on YouTube the other
boy.
day about like how long you would last on every planet.
Oh,
and it was very interesting. They also took up like some of Jupiter's moons and some of Saturn's moons and stuff like that, like how long you would live on like Titan or something like that.
not long.
Not long, not long. The longest you would live somewhere other than Earth is obviously Mars.
Yeah.
Because their atmosphere, while not entirely like ours, is the closest.
It's like 1% of ours, which is a lot.
You know, they would give you, you know, in the video, theoretically, they're giving you a spacesuit with current technology that can withstand heat and cold, and you have oxygen for a certain amount of time and stuff like that. But most of the planets, like the atmospheres are so acidic or hot or whatever,
Methane.
like the gas giants, their atmospheres are so volatile that like you would only survive like a 10-minute fall into like Jupiter.
I mean, the gravity alone.
Right. But Mars, you know, if you had a top of the line spacesuit, you would probably survive a couple of days before you ran out of oxygen completely.
No, I mean, I can make oxygen by eating the rocks.
Obviously,
potatoes.
Obviously, like Mercury, your suit would last like 2 minutes before you were just like died from the heat.
I mean, unless you fell into like a shadow or something, and then you'd freeze to death.
Yeah, because Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere
at all.
Oh, they said the radiation would get you before the heat did. That's right.
Yeah.
The radiation from the sun, because there's no magnetic field, there's no atmosphere, would just even the top of the line protection against radiation, you would still be cooked.
You just live in an X-ray beam.
Yeah.
And probably gamma rays too, that close to the sun.
Right, yeah, no, you'd be the Hulk in like a minute.
Well, then there's no friggin' problem. I'm fine. I'm gonna live forever if I go to fucking Mercury. That's what they don't want you to know, Tim. That's the Tuck Everlasting Fountain of Youth. You gotta go to Mercury and get blasted by the fucking alpha particles right to your face, and then you live forever.
But yeah, why would aliens want to come here? I have no fucking clue.
Nothing to do here.
Nothing to do here. We're boring.
But if you did want to do something like come see a show, you'd go to Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, or you go to Broadway, try to get tickets to Hamilton. Like, you do something. Go to fucking Super Mario World, which I really want to go to so bad.
Visit Paris or something. Like, don't
Eiffel
come
Tower.
Don't listen, unless you're going to Disney World, don't come to America.
Yeah, for real. Oh, where am I?
Of Weaponize the podcast. Welcome back with Jeremy. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm so glad you talked to that sailor there, because it gives us so much more context. Like the videos, they're very important, and yet they don't show that much. So real fast, walk us through what this video shows, because if you look very closely, it looks like the target.
It looks like you're trying to cause seizures, is what you're trying to do.
Is trying to lock in, right?
That's right. So George Knapp and I, with our journalism, we always try to, if we obtain military film footage.
Yeah, here we go. Let's take a look at this. I'm not really interested in what you got to say. Okay, what was that? You're just jumping all over the place. Like, quit flickering your shit.
Man, it's 2025. Can't we get like fucking color images here?
Dude, fly a drone out there and go look at it.
Yeah.
What's the big hold up here?
It's possible that is a drone of some kind.
And they act like they don't play around with stuff. You know what I mean? Stuff that they've been working on. And then they accidentally get seen by people. Like, that happens too all the time. Like people kept seeing the Blackbird.
Yeah.
And what is it? What's the other one? The Nighthawk. People saw those flying around and reported them, and then they was like, "Oh, you're crazy." I was like, yeah, of course. He's like, yeah, those were alien. There must have been an alien craft. No, that was Skunk Works. That's where we work on our secret planes and experimental planes, and sometimes people see them. But this, I don't think this is. I don't even think this is that. And they're like, oh, it uses no propulsion. There's no heat trail. Yeah, because it's on your clean your shit off. That doesn't need fuel. Last time I checked.
Sheldon Lamy says there's no guarantee that aliens will be friendly.
That's true.
Also, if they watch our movies about aliens, they're gonna think that we're not friendly.
They might do a preemptive strike.
Right. They go out there. They watch Independence Day.
Oh my god! If they watched Independence Day and then came to America and said, "All right, we want to talk to the drop the bombs, all of them, just blow me up too. It's fine." No, hell no. No one can know about this place. Have they banned all the literal class ships? I don't know. We wind up with Space Columbus. I discovered this land for Glip-Glorp. Like, oh shit. Not again. I'm Christopher. Okay.
I was like that episode of The Simpsons where Kang and Kodos both ran for president, and they're like, "It's a two-party system. You got to vote for one of us."
Well, all right. Now to the serious stuff. You guys have had enough fun. Damn it. Back to the real world.
No.
Welcome back.
This morning, Harvard University officials are pushing back against the Trump administration's attempt to force compliance with the president's political agenda, losing $2.2 billion in federal funding in the process. The administration wanted Harvard to limit activism on campus and DEI programs.
Man, they fucked up this whole audio thing, huh?
Yeah, for some reason it's all coming on like the left side.
Yeah, I'm getting left ear. Crowd still talking while she's talking.
Balance your
allow
audio.
Audits to ensure what it calls viewpoint diversity,
making my ear feel funny,
and change the school's governance. Harvard's president wrote a letter in response saying the school, quote, will not surrender its independence or relinquish its
Oh, you know what? Can we grab that letter? Let me see. I'll grab it.
Yeah, see if we can find that letter. First of all, the Ivy Leagues don't fuck around when it comes to this stuff. I'm sure Yale is going to say the same exact thing. And Brown and Columbia and all these other schools, they're not. I mean, Columbia did kind of buckle under a little bit, but
yeah.
Harvard has a long and storied tradition of telling people to go fuck themselves.
And we have it. The promise of American higher education. Dear members of the Harvard community, for 3/4 of a century, the federal government has awarded grants and contracts to Harvard and other universities to help pay for work that, along with investments by the universities themselves, has led to groundbreaking innovations across a wide range of medical, engineering, and scientific fields. These innovations have made countless people in our country and throughout the world healthier and safer. In recent weeks, the federal government has threatened its partnership with several universities, including Harvard, over accusations of anti-Semitism on our campuses. These partnerships are among the most productive and beneficial in American history. New frontiers beckon us with the prospect of life-changing advances, from treatments for diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and diabetes, to breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, quantum science, and engineering, and numerous other areas of possibility. For the government to retreat from these partnerships now risks not only the health and well-being of millions of individuals, but also economic security and vitality of our nation. Here's the juice. Late Friday night, the administration issued an updated and expanded list of demands, warning that Harvard must comply if we intend to maintain our financial relationship with the federal government. It makes clear that the intention is not to work with us to address anti-Semitism in a cooperative and constructive manner, although some of the demands outlined by the government are aimed at combating anti-Semitism. The majority represent direct governmental regulation of the intellectual conditions at Harvard. Oh, here's the letter. Look at that. Got a hyperlink in the letter.
Damn.
Whoa.
Is this the administration demanding stuff? Oh yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Damn, they straight up said scan that shit and put it online.
Wow.
See, let me zoom in here.
Yeah, enhance.
Enhance. We have the technology. Okay. Let's see. The United States has invested in Harvard University's operations because of the value of the country, value to the country of scholarly discovery and academic excellence. And they started a sentence with "but." Oh my God. Jesus. But an investment is not an entitlement. It depends on Harvard upholding federal civil rights laws, and it only makes sense if Harvard fosters the kind of environment that produces intellectual creativity and scholarly rigor, both of which are antithetical to ideological capture. This is such word salad. Harvard in the recent years failed to live up to both the intellectual and civil rights conditions that justify federal investment. And they did it again. Stop starting sentences with "but."
You can't start sentences with "but."
God.
But.
Just say, "We appreciate your..." Don't put "but." We appreciate your expression of commitment to repairing those failures and welcome your collaboration in restoring the university to its promise. We therefore present below provisions as a basis for an agreement in principle that will maintain Harvard's financial relationship with the federal government. If acceptable to Harvard, this document will constitute an agreement in principle. What? Which the parties will work in good faith to translate in more thorough binding settlement agreement. Settlement. As you will see, this letter incorporates and supersedes the terms of the federal government's prior letter of April 3rd, 2020. So they want governance of leadership reforms, merit-based hiring reform, merit-based admissions reform, international admissions reform. Hold on. Viewpoint diversity in admissions and hiring, reforming programs with egregious records of anti-Semitism and other bias, discontinuation of DEI, which they literally just had in the one before this, student discipline reform and accountability, whistleblower reporting and protections, and transparency and monitoring.
Okay, so some of that stuff Harvard already did, right? Because they got rid of affirmative action when it came to schools and their admissions process. So that merit-based admissions thing, they already do now. Harvard also this year said that if you make under $200,000 and you apply to the school and you get accepted, you don't have to pay anything.
Wow.
So you and they're this is a pilot program they're starting that other universities might also do, private universities like Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Brown, etc. Where if you don't make enough money to go to Harvard, we'll pay for you to go to Harvard. You won't have to take student loans.
Radical thought.
Go to the section that's like anti-Semitism programs that they have to get rid of.
Reforming programs with egregious records of anti-Semitism or other bias.
Okay. The programs and schools and centers of concern include, but are not limited to, the Divinity School, which is what Harvard was founded on, a Graduate School of Education, the School of Public Health, the Medical School, Religion and Public Life Program, Center for Health and Human Rights, the Center for Middle East Studies, the Carr Center for Human Rights at Harvard, the Kennedy School, which is their political science wing, the Department of Eastern Language and Cultures, and the Harvard Law School International Human Rights Clinic. So all of the human rights stuff they just want to do away with.
Yep.
All of the religious stuff, which Harvard was founded as a religious institution, Harvard is going to have a problem with that. And not defending, the Christianity of any university that has been founded. Yale is also started as a Christian university, and that's problematic in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
But saying you have to get rid of these programs because they're anti-Semitic in nature, the government says they're anti-Semitic, not that they actually are.
Right. They are accused.
That's pretty crazy, and boy, I hope more schools end up standing up to the administration like this. I mean, I know not every school has probably a huge endowment they can fall back on.
Yeah.
But if you can, do it, because otherwise they're going to take away all of those programs, all of those, those are all pretty essential to a lot of things at Harvard.
Because, I mean, what does, like, by them saying this, right, and threatening this, what is the fucking point of going to college?
They want you to get, notice the business school was not discussed here. They want you to get an MBA.
Yeah.
Or a bachelor's in economics or some shit and be productive.
Don't be a teacher. Don't go into health. Don't do medicine. Don't study religions or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
None of like, what the fuck is the point of going to college?
They want
go
they
there
want to
for
get rid
fucking
of all
geometry.
This. Yeah.
Like what? I went to Harvard for geometry.
They want you. They. This is my personal belief. They want you to go to college, get a degree in something STEM related, and be a productive worker. That's all they want. That's all they care about.
Yeah, but no one gives a shit about your shit. Like, yeah, go work in my fucking dog ass fucking economy. Yeah, okay. Great idea. Rather cure something. The university must immediately shutter all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, offices, committees, positions, and initiatives under whatever name, and stop all DEI-based policies, including DEI-based disciplinary and speech control policies, under whatever name. Demonstrate that it has done so to the satisfaction of the federal government, and demonstrate that the satisfaction of the federal government that these reforms are durable and effective through structural and personnel changes by August.
And you know, having been a college student for way too long, I walked through the halls of my college, and it's a state university, so they're very susceptible to any of this nonsense because they don't have anything to fall back on. Half of the fucking school is diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the whole point. Like, there's literally a diversity office. There's and like everything's a diversity and inclusion program. Everything. You can't walk 5 feet without seeing some form of DEI program, according to the government. And cutting all of that? Why? Once again, why would you go?
What's the point?
Why would you go? That means you're cutting out like women's services, any of the student like the Black Student Union, any of the programs that support people from other countries, any of the programs that support you know, the trans community or LGBTQ plus, like any of all those programs being gone. Why even try? Why even go? I mean, that's the point, right?
Right. To discourage people from higher education.
Right. They want the poors and the minorities to not go to school.
They're getting too uppity.
They're getting too uppity.
Reading them books.
And it has to be merit based, but only merit based if you're a white dude.
That's why they're totally trying to get rid of legacy memberships to these colleges.
And that's one thing that Harvard would never get rid of.
Yeah. Back to the OG letter. The president says, I encourage you to read the letter, which we just read parts of, to gain a fuller understanding of the unprecedented demands being made of by the federal government to control the Harvard community. They include requirements to audit the viewpoints of our student body, faculty, staff, and to reduce the power of certain, I guess they typed it wrong in there, the power of certain students, faculty, and administrators targeted because of their ideological views. We have informed the administration through our legal counsel that we will not accept their proposed agreement. The university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights.
There you go.
Eat my ass.
If only he put that in there.
Our motto, Veritas, or truth, guides us as we navigate the challenging path ahead. Seeking truth is a journey without end. It requires us to be open to new information and different perspectives. to subject our beliefs to ongoing scrutiny, and to be ready to change our minds. It compels us to take up the difficult work of acknowledging our flaws so that we might realize the full promise of the university, especially when the promise is threatened. Sounds like a wild radical to me.
Yeah, right?
Fucking.
Those fucking woke universities.
Unreal.
Man, we like fucking Inception this whole thing. There's a video to a letter to another letter.
It's called fact checking. It's called due diligence. You guys should try it out there. I watch some of your streams. Your shit is lazy. Lazy.
Constitutional rights by agreeing to the terms.
Overwhelmingly, us, the students, this is what we want to see from them.
In a lawsuit filed last week, faculty members claim the administration is overstepping its authority, asking a federal judge to block the attempt to cut off billions of dollars in funding.
This is still fucking me up with the left ear thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
Trump administration's efforts against Harvard are part of a larger pressure campaign targeting elite universities' curriculum and hiring practices after widespread campus protests last year. The administration argues Harvard and other universities haven't done enough to address anti-Semitism on campus, an allegation.
I'm sorry, but I'm getting real sick of them saying like, "Hey, you can't be Muslim. It offends the Jews." Like, chill, bro. They get to be here too. You can't just be like, nah, don't even have your flag out. Put it away.
Right.
You pissing everybody out. Put your flag. Stop repping. It's like, but he's got a flag right there. Like, shut your ass up. Don't look at his flag. You're making him feel bad. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't, like, I get if there was like this whole, like, if they had this same energy, remember in Cincinnati when the fucking neo-Nazis were like right outside the hood and then they got found out.
Say, oh, you think you about that? You think it's a game?
And then the hood rolled up on them in Lincoln Heights, and then they had to run away. And then the cops were helping them get into their U-Haul, and they had to go back and retrieve a dog and all this other bullshit. Yeah. They do that for white supremacists who literally say, I want to fuck up and eat the babies of the Jews and all this shit. Like, that's what they do to these fucking kids who are holding up fucking cardboard and singing fucking hippie songs. They're the problem. Like, you need riot gear for these kids, but when there's literal neo-Nazis, I mean, I don't see nobody fucking pepper spraying Elon Musk for Sig Heiling on the fucking inauguration stage.
Right?
Like, you have Nazis to go after. Go get them.
They're over there.
They're right fucking there, dude. They're right there. How do you not know what they look like? I don't know.
Harvard denies. The university.
Yeah, Kate in the chat says ADL defended Musk Sig Heil. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he if you will refer back to Ben Shapiro, he took him to Auschwitz and they did a photo op there. And the reason he was doing the photo op with Ben Shapiro was because he said fucking anti-Semitic shit. And that's why he was there. And then it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah. And, Ben Shapiro and fucking Elon went to a concentration camp as like a photo op.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. And like, Elon was just there for the photo op, guys.
Because he got in trouble on Twitter.
Yeah, he was just there to like make nice because he wasn't an overt Nazi at that point. He wasn't Sieg Heiling everywhere for the president. He was trying to keep it under wraps at that point, and he was like, no one must know.
Then the ketamine kicked in, crowd was going crazy, and he just had to bust that Sig Heil real quick,
He didn't go there because he felt any kind of way about concentration camps, except maybe Elon felt they were a good idea. Like,
I go every year to pay my respects. That is not what was happening.
He didn't go there for any sort of reverence or acknowledging that what happened was terrible. He went there because he felt it was good for him in the press.
He went out there with a tape measure. But Elon, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is that?
University's response, the demands reach far beyond combating anti-Semitism. Supporters encourage all universities stand together.
All of the institutions that
And how come we'll never get this kind of outrage for black people?
Because they're black people.
Oh.
are facing
Don't you remember? Don't you remember the Black Lives Matter protests in
Yeah.
DC versus the fucking insurrection? Don't you remember the two?
I guess it is different, huh?
It is. They will bring out the full military force to make sure that the black people don't take control of the Capitol building.
Right.
But when white people do it, yeah, the National Guard's too far away. It's fine. Whatever.
Well, Nancy Pelosi didn't want the optics of having soldiers out there.
Yeah.
The optics would be bad.
When the president at the time said, "Hey, we're going to do an insurrection."
Insurrection on 3? What? 1, 2, 3. Oh, God.
Oh, let's go. First one to Nancy Pelosi
administration
office wins.
individually may not be powerful enough to resist, but I think collectively they do have a tremendous amount of resources.
The White House has also halted some funding to Cornell and Northwestern. Columbia University had some of its funding suspended before officials there decided to comply.
Shut it down, man. Don't take the funding. Shut it down.
Yeah.
Because if this is what it's going to be, we don't want it.
Yeah. You know what? And I don't say this lightly because I think that a lot of college tuition is a scam. But if you want to raise tuition because the federal government's not giving you the $2 billion, I think that's more of a moral victory, saying that, oh, we have to fund the college somehow. But Harvard does have a massive endowment to fall back on.
Right.
It's not like they don't have any more money.
And they could share it with smaller colleges who aren't going to be able to make it.
Right. I think if the colleges, private and public, sort of band together on this and agree to protect each other from the government.
Yeah.
I know that in certain states they're going to enact the same sort of bullshit that they do at the federal level. So those colleges are kind of fucked because public colleges are funded by a mixture of state and federal funding. But if, say, in Illinois or in Connecticut, the state decides to hold its ground like Connecticut's planning to.
Illinois as well, I believe.
They can then say, all right, we're going to try and replace what the federal government's not giving you. And it depends on what the state's budget is. And I know Connecticut's kind of struggling right now with figuring out where to fund things that are going to be disrupted the most.
Right.
So the colleges may not get as much money, but once again, if tuition has to go up a little bit because the federal government is deciding to back out of this whole college thing, then I can't blame them.
I will. Shit's been way too high for way too long. Fuck that.
It has been way too high for way too long, but they have to keep the colleges open.
They should have some money to be sitting on for a rainy day. So if some people have to get a few less $1 million over the next few years because we're gonna keep the pipes, keep the water running through the pipes and keep the buildings maintained, and just do everything online.
Well, for private colleges, absolutely.
Well, state ones too.
The state ones don't have any money. I've been to the meetings. I've been to the hearings. They don't have any money to begin with. I went to a hearing a few years back for free public college law in Connecticut, which they ended up passing. You get if you go to community college, your first 2 years are free. You don't have to pay anything. No loans, no debt, no nothing. And the president of Connecticut's college system was like, I get it, guys, but you can't cut any more funding from our schools.
Right.
You can't get blood from a rock. We don't have any more money.
There's nothing left to give, boys.
They were already considering shutting down a few schools because they can't fund them all.
Right.
So I think the public colleges where most of the money comes from state and federal funding instead of private donors or stuff like that, they still have a donor wing where they get money. It's just not as robust as say as Yale or Harvard, where they have the whole legacy thing to fall back on.
Right.
So it is a spider's web of nonsense for the public colleges because they have to try and find money from everywhere. And they also have to all compete with each other. And that's the shitty part. That's what makes tuition go up.
Right.
Is they have to constantly build new buildings to compete with each other so they can get more students, so they can build new buildings, and the cycle just goes on forever. But if we can find a way to like not make people pay for public college and just say, hey, if you want to go to school for whatever, here you go.
I think community laid out the framework beautifully for us, and we just refuse to listen.
Probably.
We just need a dean like the dean. Spanish teacher? No.
Man, yeah. I wish I had a Spanish teacher like that.
Dude was fucking crazy. We're going to give out extra points on the finals with paintball.
Man, if there was a paintball day at my school, that'd be the fucking best.
Best day ever.
The major clash is now unfolding between President Trump and his battle against some of America's top university arts sued the Trump administration. My source tonight is the Harvard law professor and general counsel of the organization. At the heart of this lawsuit, Andrew Manuel Crespo is here in his first TV interview since that suit was filed. And so thank you so much, sir, for being here. Given all of these developments happening tonight, can I first just get your response to the administration saying tonight?
Sheldon says hopefully the Harvard alumni will donate. They should. That should be part of it.
Should. Yeah. And you know, they have some wealthy alumni.
That's what I'm saying. Person impersonator in the chat. Progress only in the chat. Sheldon in the chat. If I left you out, say something. Steve S in the chat. Bonjour, Jen. And yell at me if I didn't say you yet.
Tonight that it's going to have
you didn't give me a horn.
You're not getting a horn.
I'm not eating eggs.
That's what you're gonna get.
I'm not eating eggs. I'm not eating eggs. I'm not.
$0.2 billion freeze. What kind of impact does that have?
Well, thanks so much for having me. And while this cut is obviously deeply disappointing and a real blow, not just to Harvard, but to higher education across the United States, it's not exactly unexpected. The Trump administration has been threatening to withhold and then withholding millions and then billions of dollars from some of the leading institutions of higher education in the country. The impacts of those cuts will be severe, not just to cutting-edge research, cures for cancer, cures for diseases, studies that try to understand the most cutting-edge technology, but also all of the work that happens at these universities with respect to how we study our history, the things that are essential to our democracy. There's a lot that happens at these universities that are essential to having.
You know, I'm a student of history. I remember everything. Back in the 1890s, we had tariffs. They were great.
A free democracy. And that's, I think, exactly the reason why they're all under attack. So the impact is significant, but I'm really proud to see Harvard standing up to fight.
Well, you filed your lawsuit before we saw how Harvard was going to respond tonight.
I mean, damn, dog. You really tried it against the Harvard Law School?
Yeah, right?
That's a big swing, man. Big swing.
You know who's a professor at Harvard Law School?
Barack Hussein Obama.
Elizabeth Warren.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
And essentially you were arguing that the threat to cut this funding violates free speech and other First Amendment rights here. Given Harvard is the first school that we've seen respond this way, how does that impact?
Oh, Sarah Davies. Oh wait, wrong one. I was like, what is this clapping?
Impact your lawsuit, and what does that mean for this going forward?
Well, I think the Trump administration's decision to cut $2.2 billion from Harvard tonight makes clear just how essential this lawsuit is and how critical this fight is, and why it's so important for Harvard and really every university in the country to take a stand at this critical moment, because this is a clear, unquestionable violation of First Amendment rights. You mentioned some of the demands that the administration has made of Harvard. It includes things like trying to appoint a federally named oversight official to do an audit of.
Now, who do you think that's going to be?
Big balls.
It'll be Trump. He'll want to do it himself.
No, he doesn't have the fucking attention span for that shit.
Exactly. So he'll walk in there, spend 2 hours firing people and just ranting about how his uncle from MIT is so much smarter than everybody here. And then he'll just storm out, having completely shit everywhere.
Every course, every department at Harvard to see if we have ideological balance to meet the Trump administration's test for what we teach and what we say at these universities. It's a transparent effort to change what is taught, what we say in our classrooms, what we teach our students, to make sure that the only things that are actually said on university campuses are things that the Trump administration wants to hear and wants to be said. This is a move that happens in countries.
Mike, you know what they call that?
The art of the deal.
Indoctrination.
Nope, it's the art of the deal. You just teach them early that nothing I say is wrong.
They want to do the very thing that they've been railing against for so many years. That college students are being indoctrinated into this like woke liberal ideology, and they just want to do the same thing but opposite. They want them to learn to, I guess, I don't know, buckle under and be good drones. I really don't know.
There's not a real plan underneath. Once you start, like, peeling back a couple layers of the onion, it's all paper mache. There's nothing in there.
If you were to take a political science class, if it were to still exist in this like future Trump Harvard, would only the conservative philosophies be taught? Would like it just be all Adam Smith and like no Marx
Matt
at all?
Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh would be your professor.
Like, where does Trump come down on like Plato or Socrates or like Aristotle? Like, where do those guys fall?
I've read all the Ninja Turtles books.
No, the only book that's going to be taught is Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, because that's the capitalism book. That's the only book you're ever going to learn.
No, you're going to learn the art of the deal. Harvard just became Trump
Yeah.
University
Art of the
2.0.
deal.
We're back, baby.
Can you imagine Harvard Business School? Their only fucking textbook is Art of the Deal.
And now welcoming tenured Professor Bernie Madoff. What is this life, man?
Across the world, when there are efforts to try to make an authoritarian play in government. Institutions that are essential to civil society, like the press, like the courts, like the legal profession, and universities, are the first to come under attack. And that's what we've been seeing over the first few weeks of this administration.
And other top lawmakers in Washington have been very loudly condemning what happened there, because they really became the face of the protest movement.
And that made them vulnerable to public.
Yeah, protest. That's totally against the First Amendment.
It's totally not one of the things that's in the First Amendment explicitly.
No, they were talking about somebody else.
Totally. So, I mean, here's what you get as like a package deal under the First Amendment, right? You get the freedom of speech, which is like the overarching. This is what you get.
Government can't shut you up.
Government can't shut you up. The government can't make laws regarding religion, which, boy, they're very much trying to do. The government can't police the press, which Trump is just doing at this point.
Banning the AP.
You have the right to assemble peacefully. You have the right to peacefully assemble and protest really whatever you want, which is why all those fucking Nazis got to march wherever they wanted to march.
Literal Nazis, literal Klansmen.
Literal Klansmen, neo-Nazi skinheads get to do whatever they want peacefully. They get to march as long as they get the permits or whatever.
Yep.
But you can't say or do whatever you want on a college campus.
Nope.
Peacefully. You can't protest.
Nope.
A genocide. I know America has a long history of like ignoring genocides. But come on, guys.
If it's not apparent by now, and that's what really kind of troubles me, is that even if you were on the fence and you didn't know for certain like what was going on over there, and you were just kind of like reserving because like I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I mean, in support of them, I say Yes to the what was the Laken Riley Act, right?
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
yes to the other one that they did about the anti-Semitism thing. But what you've unwittingly done, and honestly, I could probably attribute this to Netanyahu. What they've done is they've set up, they laid something down face down as a trap card. So they've already said if anybody is deemed anti-Semitic, you're a terrorist. And they've also said that anyone accused of a crime can be deported. And then he just proved with the Supreme Court that anyone that he wants to deport, he can send to wherever he wants, whether they're a citizen or not. So while y'all thought you were like protecting Jewish folk on these college campuses, you have been lining up the cue ball for the fascists to start just expelling people for no reason.
Yeah.
That's why everyone said, don't vote for this. Don't vote for it. It's too vague. Don't vote for it. Nah, man, I support Israel. Okay, but this isn't pro-Israel. This is just against you. This is anti-citizen.
Yeah, it's very anti. Like a lot of the shit they're doing is like you said, Mikey. It's a trap card.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying we're trying to get the illegal immigrants out, or we're trying to combat anti-Semitism, or we're trying to get all the corrupt bureaucrats out of the government, or we're trying to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. This is all just dismantling institutions, dismantling your rights, and dismantling what the Constitution is supposed to stand for. And at this point, ignoring the Constitution.
Yeah, I was about to say it's deliberate at this point.
It is. It's deliberate. And we watched that Keith Olbermann clip last time where he's like, pick a side, either adhere to the Constitution or ignore it, and they've just chosen to ignore it.
And there's people on the left who are going along with it under the guise of I'm protecting Jewish people.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
And by the way, the Trump administration does not get to decide what anti-Semitism is.
No. Maybe a college with like a storied, Middle East.
Perhaps you should talk to the people who've studied the subject.
The Middle East professors, maybe from Harvard.
Yeah, the Middle East studies professors who you're just saying, hey guys, you don't need those programs anymore.
The people who would know. I mean, it's just like they're getting rid of all the attorneys general or inspectors general.
And I do get that there is an amount of anti-Semitism. I understand that.
We've been railing against it this whole time.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fucking movement.
Some of it is coming from the government.
What?
Whoa, yeah. Some of it is coming from fucking Trump. When he says he what did he say? He didn't want black guys counting his money. He only wanted Jewish guys wearing yarmulkes on their heads. That's the only people he trusts to be his accountants. That's anti-Semitism.
No, it's not.
It's also anti-black, but it's racism in general.
He snuck in we just kind of ignored the racism on blacks. We was just like, wait, oh, that's Jewish, but wait, who's even? He's offended so many people. I don't even know who the actual victim is.
It's racism brackets general.
It's just like a racist grenade. It gets several people all at once.
Backlash and vulnerable to political backlash.
Correct, and you also saw those dramatic images that played out when you saw the police go onto campus and they took over the building, and I mean this kind of built and built and built, and so they were already under the.
So when it says free Palestine and the occupation now, that means attack Jewish people?
That's anti-Semitism.
Come on, y'all. That's what that is. They literally fucking run around with nooses and shit, talking about they're gonna lynch people.
Right.
And y'all don't do shit to them. Y'all don't do nothing to them. They literally march around talking about we're gonna exterminate the Jews and Jews will not replace us. And they had the little tiki torches looking like Target employees.
But Mikey, that was both sides had very good people.
That's what I'm saying. So like how in the last administration he actively rallied for fucking anti-Semites, and now all of a sudden it's like, what are you talking about? No, dog, I'm not buying it. That's crazy. But speaking of crazy, as if this news would be anything but
A
these
federal
days.
judge in-
Jesus Christ, hold on. Jesus. Cool
Slow
your
down.
jets,
Slow
girl.
down.
Damn. Give me a second. Let me talk it in. She can talk it in.
Virginia has ordered a hearing next week after the Justice Department filed a motion Wednesday to drop its criminal case against the alleged East Coast leader of the gang known as MS-13.
Now, wait a minute.
What?
Now, wait a minute. They just told me that they got the guy who was part of MS-13, who everyone was saying was just a dad from Maryland. So now I'm confused. Is this the guy? Cause did you get the guy and send him, or did you get the guy and he went to court?
The government has still not given an official reason as to why it's looking to dismiss the case against Henry Viatoro Santos. However, a spokesperson for Attorney General Pam Bondi pointed to this statement that she made when he was arrested last month.
Yo, you can't be serious, right?
I think they're for reals on this one.
You can't be serious.
He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia.
Ooh, she's not used to being on camera every day.
Nope.
Ooh.
Living half an hour.
Look at Cass Patel back there. He's like, I got my jacket.
Outside of Washington, D.C. And he will not be living in our country much longer.
Viatoro Santos was taken into custody on March 27th, with the federal government saying there was an administrative immigration warrant for his arrest.
Okay.
The 24-year-old was charged with illegal possession of a firearm after several weapons were found in his home in Virginia. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarland. And Scott, the Justice Department appears to be implying that it will deport him, which is maybe why it dropped the cases, or the charges, I should say, against him. His attorneys have asked a judge to delay the dismissal of his case. So a lot to digest here. What more can you tell us about that?
The Department of Justice and the administration facing a lot of questions about this tonight. This is an unexpected twist in a very high...
He has a very newsman face.
He does. He looks like typical news guy.
Mm-hmm.
High-profile case. I mean, the U.S. Attorney General, the director of the FBI, invited the media and had a national press conference to announce this arrest, saying Mr. Viatoro Santos is a leader of the MS-13 transnational gang, an East Coast top dog in the violent gang. They charged him with a federal count of unlawful possession of a firearm, but they try to dismiss this case if it's to expedite the deportation. That is a break from the practices of the Department of Justice. Nancy, if this is a violent criminal who has wreaked havoc nationwide, traditionally you'd have a criminal case so that the victims could have their day in court and get some justice. And what's more, if you don't bring the case to court, all the allegations made at the news conference need not be backed up or proven. If a deportation happens without due process, there's no need to prove the allegations made. So there are questions about why this is being done, but unequivocal.
So is this guy even the leader of MS-13?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
We don't know.
Maybe he's a fucking Uber driver in fucking DC. Who knows?
It could be just another oopsie.
This is getting buck wild.
Typically, the Department of Justice wants this done. They want the case off the books.
Scott, a federal judge also ruled on Thursday that the Trump administration can continue with a requirement that every illegal immigrant in the United States must register with the federal government. So what is that?
Yeah, fingerprinting every single person is crazy.
That's police state stuff.
That's crazy. And this is the pro-Constitution people.
I don't think they've been pro-Constitution for quite some time.
That reasoning behind there.
Yeah, that's for now, and it's a pretty narrow decision from the judge, Nancy. The judge here in Washington, D.C., Trevor McFadden, among other things, said there wasn't proper standing for those who brought the lawsuit. What does that mean? It means it's not the proper party to make the challenge. It was a interest group, an activist group on behalf of immigrants in the United States. The judge is saying you don't have proper standing. It's not the right time for this suit to be brought, or at least the integrity of the suit isn't right with this party. That all being said, there's a February ruling issued by the Department of Homeland Security that those over the age of 14 in the country unlawfully must register with the federal government. The judge is opening the door for that to happen. The actual rule takes effect tomorrow. But there's almost certain to be an appeal here or a new legal challenge brought by different people with a different level of...
So no one knows what's happening.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Awesome.
The court system is just a mess with this stuff.
Yeah. And like that's half the point, right? Is to have everything be so jammed up and crazy.
Yeah.
That nothing can actually be seen or adjudicated.
Would happen that
Facebook whistleblower Sarah Wynne Williams testifies before Senate Judiciary Committee. She's talking all about Mark Zuckerberg. Let's listen.
the Chinese would get access to the data, and they also noted their concern in other discussions and other documentation, saying, you know, my red line as a security engineer is to not be comfortable with this, but my red line is not Mark Zuckerberg's red line.
Maybe you can explain what you mean by that.
Senator Blumenthal.
Engineer was
I'm about to say your boy's in here.
saying that they were not comfortable with the way the China project was structured that would allow the Chinese Communist Party to potentially access American citizens' data.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool.
Mark gave our shit to fucking China already. Awesome. That's why Mark ain't been invited to nothing.
But in saying that, they noted that, you know, that's a red line for me as a security engineer. That's not Mark Zuckerberg's red line.
Did you sense he had any red line?
Oh, red line. I get it.
I did not.
Because
If you did, you don't know what it was.
I don't.
China's the red line.
If you have more information related to these spying risks, would you be willing to share it with the committee?
I would, Senator.
And Mark Zuckerberg was knowledgeable about the planning, and do you know whether he was knowledgeable about the risks as well?
My understanding is that the risk is the hardest part of the plan, so it's unthinkable that he was not aware of the risk.
Nothing happened here without his approval and knowledge.
This was a project unlike any other project I worked on during my time at Meta, in that it was so centrally led by Mark Zuckerberg, and he was so personally invested in this project. He learnt Mandarin. He traveled to China more than any other country.
Nah, man, China's the enemy. We hate China. Boo. And then Elon's got a fucking giant factory over there. Mark's been flying back and forth and learning fucking Chinese. Fucking okay, guys, we get it.
We get it.
Yeah, you dump billions of dollars into Trump and fly to China, and I'm supposed to believe that this is a trade war. Okay.
He had weekly Mandarin sessions with employees. It's hard to overstate how different this project was to any other project I experienced in my many years at the company.
So there would be no credibility to his denying that he knew about the risks, he knew about the concerns raised by his engineers and his China team, and he was intimately involved in not only the planning and the engineering, but also in taking those risks.
Senator, he was traveling to Beijing.
In the documents submitted
to
the subcommittee, Facebook appears to have been willing to provide the data of users in Hong Kong to the Chinese government.
Bro, you snitched on the Hong Kongers?
Wow.
Mark.
See, this is the problem with social media is it's not, they don't care about your profile or what you're doing or anything. They just want to track it all and just sell that information to whoever.
Whoever's buying.
I mean, that's everyone. Does everyone, all of our UK listeners, remember the Brexit and the whole Cambridge Analytica thing?
Right.
Because that is all very much tied to Facebook selling information so that politicians could gain an advantage. That's all that was.
That's your data, dumbass.
Government at a time when pro-democracy protesters were opposing Beijing's crackdown. Is that impression correct? And how did Facebook treat Taiwan or Hong Kong?
So that impression is
keeping our
correct.
elbows up, bud.
Hey, Ollie.
One of the more surprising things is that as part of the censorship tool that was developed, there were virality counters. So anytime a piece of content got over 10,000 views, that would automatically trigger it being reviewed by what they called the chief editor. And what was particularly surprising is that the virality counters were not just installed, but activated in Hong Kong and also in Taiwan.
Let me ask you, I raised in my remarks, and I know that a number of other colleagues did as well, the record of misrepresentation of deceit. One of our former colleagues, Senator Leahy, asked Mark Zuckerberg in 2018 whether Facebook would comply with Chinese censorship and surveillance demand. He even asked if Facebook had built censorship tools to enter the Chinese market, and Zuckerberg responded, I'm quoting, "Because Facebook has been blocked in China since 2009, we are not in a position to know exactly how the government would seek to apply its laws and regulations on content were we permitted to offer our service to Chinese users." Ms. Williams, was that accurate?
That is not accurate. You know, hundreds of decisions had been made, and by 2018, they'd been in dialogue directly with the Chinese Communist Party for 4 years.
The fact is,
man, Marky Mark over here lying.
He fucked this up pretty good, didn't he?
Well, that's it. That's a wrap, y'all. We already lost. We've all already been hacked. We've all.
I mean, we have lost the data privacy war. That's gone.
You know, I hope they're tracking all of my porn selections and all of my little poems and shit I write, because whoever is in charge of my account, they are in fucking therapy. I have broken whoever the agent is that's in charge of watching them. I have shattered their consciousness with my search histories.
It's crazy because it's all of them, right? It's not just Zuckerberg. It's fucking Bezos is doing it too. I have a book on my bookshelves called, where the fuck is it? The Age of, what is it called?
How to Make a Bookshelf.
How to Make a Bookshelf. What the fuck is it? Oh man, I can't remember it now. It's basically about how data is the new economy and how companies use data to make money off of you, even though you don't give them consent. Well, you do give them consent. You check off the fucking box on terms of service, right? But Bezos is out there. Every word you say in front of Alexa or the Google thing or whatever is recorded and stored. Now they promise that they're not going to give that to people, but they do. And when Amazon bought Ring, the Ring doorbells, they also acquired all of that data. So your Ring doorbell or your Vivint doorbell or wherever you get those doorbells from, that data is going somewhere. All this smart technology is so that they can sell your information, more targeted ads, give your information to China apparently.
But But I can't even buy China's goods that they're trying to market to me because the tariffs are too high.
Oh, I remember the name of the book now. It's called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's daunting.
It is. It's a thick book, but it is right on the money. That's what it is. It's surveillance capitalism. It's monitoring your shit, selling it to other people so they can sell you things.
But we don't have any money.
Well, you would have money if you actually had the right to sell your data, but you don't.
Yeah, Mark, cut me a check so I can buy more of the shit that's been targeted towards me. Blenders. All of you guys will be getting ads for blenders now.
Blenders.
Food processors. Whisks.
Is
Cutting board.
by 2018, Facebook built, it even turned on censorship and surveillance tools that it developed. It developed for Chinese security officials, correct?
It developed, and those Chinese Communist Party officials tested the censorship tool and would give feedback and say, this needs to change, or we need this, or we need confidence that you can capture images and filter images we don't want seen.
We talk a lot about 1984. Facebook developed a virility counter tool that directed any posts of over 10,000 views to be reviewed by an Orwellian named, quote unquote, chief editor. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And was the chief editor's geographic reach limited to mainland China, or did they plan to cover other locations?
They plan to cover Hong Kong and Taiwan, is my understanding.
So their surveillance operation was directed at...
They're going for the dissidents.
Yeah. Boy, my brain works so fast. Like, in my head, I talk so fast, and I know I don't talk that fast in real life, but like when I hear people talking fast, I'm like, oh, finally. My speed.
Finally, they're speaking binary with me.
Taiwan?
That's my understanding, Senator.
And Hong Kong?
That's my understanding.
Was the editor-in-chief's or the chief editor's power limited to reviewing viral posts?
Oh, no, it's extensive power. The chief editor would be able to turn off the entire service in specific regions, for example, Xinjiang, or would also be able to turn off or manage the service on significant anniversaries like the anniversary of Tiananmen Square.
So
then they just turned the shit off.
Right.
Wow.
The chief boy, Mark really fucked over the people who live in Hong Kong.
I love Hong Kong.
Editor, a creation of Facebook, was an Orwellian censor that applied to...
Remember when Mark Zuckerberg was hanging out with Joe Rogan and he had his very manly t-shirt on and he had his Cuban chain on and he was like, yeah, dude, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But remember when he was like crying because like the US government was like, hey, you should probably do something about like the dudes lying about vaccines because I think it'll actually get some people sick. And he was like, and they were like yelling at us and like saying that we were like killing people. It was very distressing to be told no.
God, he's such a fucking...
Bro, you was fucking giving China the fucking locations and fucking override authority to the fucking Hong Kongers in their protests.
Yeah, and Mark got sucked into the manosphere. That's why his whole fucking look changed. He got sucked into the fucking Andrew Tate of it all.
They're still gonna call you a nerd and take your fucking lunch money and put your ass in a fucking locker, Screech. Like,
you remember way back we watched a video of Jasmine Crockett yelling at Mark Zuckerberg about that very thing.
I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times.
But I mean, I think that's exactly what he was talking about. It was like, oh, the people in Congress were yelling at me, and the people in the audience wanted me to apologize because I killed people.
Yeah, AOC got his ass.
Yeah, like that's what it's all about.
That are willing to buck the establishment.
Yeah, Zuckerberg, he's gone through this like transformation from just a nerdy guy in a suit who's like one of the richest people in the world to an asshole who's one of the richest people in the world. And I mean, he was definitely an asshole back in the day, but now he's allowed to be an asshole because Trump is president and anyone can do whatever they want to anyone as long as Trump says it's okay.
Well, let's do it this way, Tim. Mark, if you're listening, first of all, go to Patreon. Patreon.com/TheBinPodcast. And then put in several $1 million. After, when you're done with that, come back. Yeah, a month. And after you're done with that, come back over here and listen to me. Okay, welcome back. I would like for you guys to talk to Mark and talk to Elon. Tell him that we reach out to him, go through your channels. I know some of you have channels. Tell him to come on to the show and we'll talk it out with him. Yeah. Something is missing from their life and they have no idea how to find it. So we're going to have a conversation with them. We're going to get to the nitty and the gritty. We're going to cry. We're going to hug. We're going to become closer. We're going to become close. I almost said closer, but we're going to become close. We're going to be brothers by the time we're done with this. And they're going to stop this unbelievably childish behavior.
And well, I mean, Mark knows a lot about us. We don't know a lot about him. That's sort of the way the dynamic goes. It's a one-sided relationship at this point.
We need to figure out who the real Mark is.
And I, our channel's been growing over the past couple of months, and we've gotten some comments on some of our videos about us, Mikey. Apparently, we're like betas or something, and like
I'm not a wolf.
Someone commented
I live
on
in
one
a
of our
house.
videos, it's like, why is this beta nonsense coming through my algorithm? And I replied to the guy, I was like, because you're a beta guy.
Because we got recommended to you, beta.
But we keep getting all this like weird manosphere like soy boy hate. Like they think we're just like beneath them. But then why are you watching the show? By the way, like and subscribe.
Yeah. And here's if they want to have like a debate one day, we'll set it up. We'll have a manosphere dudes versus what I would consider normal adult men.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to have that fight, maybe we'll open it up. I'll get a StreamYard going and you guys can come in here and you can have your day. You can get on your soapbox and you can swing at the champ and go for it. I mean, I
don't want to address the comments too much because most of it's very silly.
Yeah.
Most of it's very silly stuff. But like in regards to like Mark Zuckerberg and all that, like that's what they think of us. That's what Mark Zuckerberg has been sucked into. And like Joe Rogan and all these other people have just been sucked into this. Like if men have feelings, then they're not men. Or if men aren't like as rich as humanly possible, then they're not men. And you have to have a million side hustles and you have to be grinding it out all the time. Man, I like to just like play video games and shit.
Or even like it's strange that they're trying to please other men.
Yes.
And we're not. We're not trying to please anyone. Like we're married, so we make our ladies happy. But other than that, everything I do with everyone is on an equal playing field where we're both going into this because we both are in, like me and Tim do this project because me and Tim want to do this project. Not because I'm forcing him or he's forcing me. We don't owe each other anything. We're here because we want to be here. And that's the only kind of relationships I kind of have at this point.
Yeah.
If you're in some other kind of relationship where you're mandated to do shit with other people that you don't fucking like and you have to eat shit 40 hours a week, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that they're doing that to you. And if you needed to hear that today, then I'm glad I could be the guy. I don't want you to be in the position where you have to have some toxic dude over the top of you barking 24/7. That sucks. And I hope you can find a way out of that. Because it doesn't have to be this constantly competitive existence as an American male.
Yeah.
That is what has been prescribed to us because it makes us easier to control. As soon as you stop like lashing out and trying to fight everybody that you can reach, you get a lot more zen about shit, and then you get a lot further. Your boss is not out there fucking stressing about his boss. He could give a shit less because he's got you to dump on. So he doesn't care. So if you think that dumping on us because we're one rung under your boss is going to help things, it's not. Just like your boss is unhappy, you're just going to be just as unhappy trying to pick on other people. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work. If you want to just roll the shit downhill, you're at the bottom of the hill, brother.
And like, I'm not going to get wrapped up in like what others think of how masculine I am, because like, I don't give a fuck what random people on the internet think.
These men don't think you're manly. And I was like, I'm not trying to attract them. I don't want to be. I don't want to be manly to men.
if you think I'm like a beta or whatever, sure, you can think that. But like,
how long you been married, Tim? Okay, and how long they've been married?
Yeah, right. Like, go fucking touch some grass, man. Like,
got to get out there.
Go live a life that like you don't care what other people think of you, instead of like being so wrapped up in what masculinity is and how you must project yourself. Get the fuck over yourself. Go get some therapy if you're that sad and lonely.
And even if you're sad and lonely, get the therapy and don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because let me tell you something. We've been doing this show for, I don't know,
a long time.
Me and Tim have been doing shows together for several years. We don't talk about like our dicks. You know what I mean? We're not talking about like bitches we fucked. Like, we're not talking about, oh, look how hot that bitch is. Like, we don't, like, me and Tim have been like 3-4 years. We just don't have these conversations.
I have never taken a picture of my dick and sent it to anyone. Nobody needs to see that. Even my wife would be like, I see it enough.
Hey, I charge my wife every time. I fucking invoice her ass.
First of all, I don't need Mark Zuckerberg having that kind of
oh,
picture.
Yeah. And China, apparently. Damn, all of China got my shit.
But you're right. Like, we don't need to have those conversations because we're just cool with being ourselves. Like, there's no like one-upsmanship that needs to be had there. We're not wrapped up in.
Is that what it is? We don't have the little brother, big brother thing.
Right.
We just come into it like, homie.
And like, I do see a lot of that in stand-up. There are a lot of comedians like that's their whole deal is like dick jokes and women and relationships and all that. And I've been sort of struggling with like, I don't do that humor.
Right.
And that seems to be most of the stand-ups most of the open mics I go to, that's the humor. Like, that's people are trying to get reactions from that sort of like
misogyny.
Yeah, misogyny, shock humor.
Yeah.
And like those comedians, for the most part, I don't see them like getting any laughs.
It worked in the 90s, but those days are over.
The first the first open mic I ever went to, and I wrote a bunch of jokes about millennials that ended up getting no laughs. But
they weren't ready.
The first open mic I ever went to, I was shocked. I was like, I wasn't naive enough to think that all comedians were like as clean as I was. Like, they worked as blue as I do. But it was just shock humor after shock humor after shock humor. And like some really gross stuff, misogyny and racism. And I was like, wow, is this what the open mic scene is like? Because I don't want to do that. Luckily,
Race
I went
to the bottom.
I went to a different open mic, and it was very different. But I did an open mic last night, and the jokes I did were about me, and they were jokes about how, my wife and I both have similar educations, but she has a degree in business and I have a degree in political science. So she's a tax accountant and I go out and do stand up. Like, that's the kind of humor that I'm trying to do. And I did do a joke about is it emasculating to have your wife make a lot more money than you do? And I was like, no, it's awesome. Like, she makes all the money, and I have to cook and clean and do the laundry, but I get a special apron with my name on it.
Yo, I'm a prize.
I'm a house husband.
You a trophy husband.
I'm a trophy. She does say that. I am a trophy husband. But do I mind? Does it eat at my masculinity? No.
He makes me delicious things and makes me laugh.
Yeah. I'm her court gesture. She comes home and I'm like, yes, wife, what may I do for you? Do you want a joke or do you want food?
Here are some grapes and cut cube cheese. Let me get the palm frond so that I might begin fanning you.
She has come home to grapes and cut cube cheese before.
Charcuterie, baby.
I was like, wife, would you enjoy this delicious charcuterie board now that you are home from work?
And perhaps a little Riesling to really take off the edge.
But, like, does that affect me? No, I don't give a shit. She makes money, which is fine. I don't need to tell her, hey, I need to make all the money in this house because I'm the man. I need to be the one providing, and she'll just laugh at me.
She's like, dum-dum, I got the good job. So you go ahead to Amazon and you show me how much and then people don't understand like relationships, and maybe that's like, I guess you got to kind of be in one to kind of understand how they work. But it's truly a team effort. Like it is squad, it is team, it is family. Like, yeah. Like there isn't anything that can like get between me and my wife, like nothing. So if she needs something, it is already happening as far as I'm concerned. Like I'm already making sure that it's going to go down the way that she needs it to go. And it is vice versa. Like we buy each other shit all the time. We go on random trips just because we think it's cute, or buy flowers, or do like, this is our relationship. We make all of our own rules and we do shit the way that we like to do them. And it's awesome. We have a lot of fun. You guys can have that, but you gotta stop being a misogynist pig first. Because no woman wants to enter into that kind of relationship with you when you're a misogynist pig. You don't get to have the fun part until you drop the toxic man shit. That's just the way it works.
And yeah, I think that a lot of their issues is like men have forgotten to like interact with women on a just a level of being a friend. Like you don't want a relationship with them. You don't want to fuck them. You just want to be friends with them.
Right.
Like get some women who are friends.
Yes, you need female friends and ones that you don't creep out constantly in game lobbies.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be cool.
But I think that is a foundational issue with the manosphere, like society, is that they're all trying. It's just men trying to impress men, and they think women are just like objects or desirable, but they don't know how to talk to them.
Or like friend zone is like the new F word. Like they don't want to be. It's like, no, some girls you do want to be in their friend zone because they're just fun to hang out with, and maybe you're not like romantically attracted to them or whatever. No, be friends. You need female friends, because I trust my female friends to be like, hey, shut up, stupid. That sounds crazy. And it's like, oh, why is it crazy? Because you're being a fucking bigot. Oh, well, I didn't think I would. No, that's disrespectful to. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for telling me. And that's how you grow.
Yeah.
And then once you get to be a fully formed adult male, then what do you know? An adult woman wants to be with you for more than a day. It's magic. So find female friends. That's the only way you can metamorphosize.
We were all awkward teenagers at one point, right?
Yes.
I get it. I was there.
Man. I was in the trenches.
But at some point, you got to take the fucking leap and just talk to a woman on like a personal level, and just like they're equals and they can be your friend. They're not just subservient vessels for you.
And don't treat them like guys. Treat them like normal people, because I think that's the other thing, is they want to treat women like they treat their homies. Don't treat women like that. Stop treating your homies like that. Like we're probably pretty toxic. we're already pretty toxic to each other. So we have to just like remove that base level of, I mean, every time I see Tim, I'm like, fuck you. Like, you probably shouldn't do that with your female friends. You should probably just treat them like normal. Just treat him like a normal friend. Don't treat him like shit like your guy friends.
Anyway, that ends our Manosphere rant for the day. Just be a human to other humans.
How hard is it? How hard could it be?
Locations outside.
Oh, God. I forgot. What are we even talking about?
What were we talking about?
All right, I'm going to have to slow him down.
An Orwellian.
He doesn't need your help.
Censor that applied.
De-enhance.
Locations outside mainland China to Taiwan and Hong Kong to people not within the legal jurisdiction of China, but
Ton says I tell women stories about my third wife. I can't believe it.
also obviously the Chinese themselves, and it was designed and implemented by.
I think Ton should do stand up.
Oh man,
he should go up there with a tumbler and just fucking do one-liners. That would be so funny.
Tons, you and I should do a tour.
I'm with it. I'd buy that for $1. The cheese on tour.
Meta and Mark Zuckerberg.
Correct, Senator.
Tons of cheese tour.
Even though its very existence was denied before this committee.
I can't.
He's too slow.
I can't.
Once you put him at like fast, his regular speed is like half speed.
Let's see who's in this police car. Was that a Durango? I think they're driving a Durango.
Here we go.
Of course, you got to put on your hat.
Yeah, they got to put on their silly hats.
You got to hit the button twice. Yeah. And now I present to you the rabid liberal that tried to burn down Shapiro. Oh my God.
Sir, what were you thinking of Sunday morning? What were you thinking of Sunday? Why did you do that?
Why did you hate the governor?
Why do you say you hate the governor?
Why do you hate the governor?
What is it?
Yo.
Why do you say you hate the governor?
Why do you hate the
Yo.
All right.
Yo.
That's a response.
Let me just grab a little. That'll come in useful later. Keep that.
That's certainly a way to address the press.
What is it?
You have anything
Cody,
to say,
is the
Cody?
confession you gave state police accurate?
Your father said he tried to help you, sir.
Oh, he went for the daddy card. Nice try, reporter.
While
this guy looks like a winner. Tim, what is?
Anything more to say on the way out here? Yeah, that looks good.
Why'd you do it?
Come on. What was it about Shapiro you don't like?
Why don't you like the governor?
What do you mean you have a lot of kids? What's that mean?
He ain't giving him shit. So who is that guy, Tim?
He's the dude who arsoned Josh Shapiro's house. I gotta say, the perp walk thing is a police tactic, and I don't enjoy the sort of like vulture type nature of the press in these perp walks. Like it's not, I don't know, it's kind of gross that the police do this. Like they couldn't just like bring him in and be like, tell the press to like get out of there.
Well, Tim, the press has a right.
Yeah, they got a right, but I don't know. Like I said, it's a tactic by the police to intimidate people.
I'm only supporting it because it's white people.
And obviously this guy is a bit unhinged. But the press like already know everything about him. So they're just shouting his life at him.
I don't know. I guess I'm just more nuanced about it. Like, for this guy, go for it. Get him to say something crazy. Say it. Say something buck wild. Because he's cooked, you know what I mean? He's as cooked he's as cooked as this fucking house
Taking
is.
you over to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where investigators are working to find out why a man allegedly set fire to the home of Governor Josh Shapiro. Cody Balmer faces
Yo, their green screen technology is wide. Look at this.
charges including attempted homicide,
Now that is a green screen. All right.
terrorism, and arson. So let's bring in CBS News correspondent
Look at this.
Janelle
Whoop.
Call, who's following the story for us.
See?
And Janelle, do you know what happened?
Yo,
we need some of that. How much does that cost?
that would take me a long time.
Patreon.com/TheBinPodcast.
Y'all motherfuckers are gonna pay if I have some shit looking like this. Look at that's a crane shot with a blue or green floor, and then she's probably got a screen right here that she can interact with, but it's traced in green. Man, this is complicated. This is a complicated shot.
During the suspect's arraignment yesterday?
Yeah, so last night, I should say, for the first time, we heard from 38-year-old Cody Balmer. This is a person who police believe broke into the governor's mansion.
Scorpio Patriot.
Apparently jumped over the fence behind me and started a fire at around 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. Last night, he appeared in court for his arraignment. As he walked into court, our cameras were there, as were many other reporters, and he seemed to sort of stick his tongue out at reporters as he walked into court. When he got inside, the judge
An obvious threat.
asked him a series of questions to learn more about his life. He said to the judge last night in court that he'd been living here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania with his parents for about the last year. He also said he was working as a welder, but is now unemployed. Also want to note that it's important to mention here, he talked about his mental health. He was asked about this by the judge, and he had said, no, I don't have any mental health issues, and that was, quote, a rumor. This is really key to mention.
I don't know, man. I saw that tongue stick out. It wasn't like a nah, 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 nah. It wasn't anime style, where you pull your eyelid down, and yeah, it's not what that was.
Because, just a few days ago, in the wake of this attack at the governor's home, CBS News spoke to Cody Balmer's mother, and she had told our network that her son did suffer from mental health issues. In fact, she said he'd recently been off his meds.
Mama was like, no, he is crazy and off his meds. Before there's any confusion.
And she added that she tried to get him help sometime in the last week, and she phoned police 4 times to no avail. Ultimately, what happened in court yesterday, Mugo, was the judge did not grant him bail. So this means he was sent back to a state correctional facility, and he's waiting for his next court date, which is set to happen on April 23rd.
And Janelle.
Yeah, Your Honor, I would just like to advocate for bail for my client, and my client would also like to know where is the nearest gas station.
Yeah, right?
Like, what the fuck? No, you're not letting you back out. You're going to just set it on fire again.
We know you're outside the governor's mansion right now. So what is the scene there like? What's happening?
Look at all the different videos they got going in the background.
Yeah, they got a whole thing going on here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, let me show you what's happening here. So we're live for you outside the governor's mansion. You can see there are a couple of huge green trucks there.
She's got a lighter.
These are fire, water, and restoration crews who've now gone into the governor's home. And the work that they're doing essentially is to try to remove all the rubble. Because if you've seen some of the images we've been sharing with you and our viewers the last couple of days, you can see
that's what I was hoping to see.
How extensive the damage inside the home really is. There are just so much charred remains in there. So they have to move all the furniture.
Man, y'all some hoes.
All of the
I want to see the damage. Damn, there we go. Damn.
Wow, damn. That place.
Oh, brother.
Looks like Silent Hill in there.
Yo. Bro, he cooked that shit. Attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, aggravated assault, possible federal charge. Sheesh. You know Trump finna pardon his ass.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, not that you can't pardon for state crimes, so.
They better not give him no federal charges, or what? Pam Bondi will jump in and say, "No, actually, we're not going to prosecute this." Now to the terror.
legal protections don't apply at all, where people can be held for the
might have
rest
to
of
go
their
all the way
lives.
back to the beginning.
Okay.
Sorry. I think I gave you a time-coded one that wasn't.
Okay, the
supposed to be
tape
that
is a
way.
little hard to hear, but if you listen closely, you can just make out what the president is saying as he enters the Oval Office today with the president of El Salvador.
Criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next. The homegrowns built. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah.
Hello, niece and nephew.
What the hell?
Oh God,
Uncle Roger.
Uncle Roger's
Where
hilarious.
U.S.
I love that guy. I like
Oh,
when
what
he makes
happened?
fun of Jamie Oliver.
It was like glitching on me, so I was going to see if maybe unclose some of these. Because these videos, you know, they download in the background so you don't have all that buffering. When you have like 15 videos in your background, it's just be like, I have run out of space. Stream shut down now. Meow, meow, meow.
Oval Office today with the president of El Salvador.
Criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next.
Oh, that's their video. That ain't me.
Homegrowns
Yeah,
built.
that's
You got
their
to build
video.
about 5 more places. Yeah, that's big. All right.
Yeah, because you're not glitching. Just this video's glitching.
Fascism is hilarious.
I love Tesla.
Laughter all around. That was Donald Trump today talking to the president of El Salvador, a man who calls himself the world's coolest dictator.
Cool.
And you could hear there what sounded like Trump promising that he's about
How groovy.
How awesome.
to send to a prison in El Salvador the, quote, homegrowns, meaning U.S. citizens. He says homegrowns are next. You're going to need to build about 5 new places. The Trump administration has flown hundreds of non-U.S. citizens to this foreign prison in El Salvador already, including 10 more that they flew there this weekend. Even though the U.S. government has sent these people to this prison, the Trump administration says they have no protection under U.S. law there, that this facility doesn't answer to U.S. courts. The people sent there are just gone. They're sent into that prison maybe forever with no way to be heard, no way to contest whatever the designation was that got the U.S. government to send them there. Certainly no way to get out, ever.
Cool.
Which is, I cannot fathom the mental gymnastics that Republicans are doing to try to like defend this.
Well, I think largely are choosing not to defend it, but it's sort of a we're not going to talk about it at all sort of thing, because so Congress is on recess this week.
Yeah, they've been hard at work for a month.
Everyone's back in their district. The Republicans have been told not to hold town halls again, and I think we may get a little. Oh, I think MTG is going to have one. But yeah, they're not. You don't hear any chatter from the other side about it. You don't hear any of it because they don't want to talk about it.
They're talking about trans people in sports.
Yeah.
Just keep them distracted.
Homegrowns really next? Would the American president send American citizens to indefinite, totally lawless, apparently permanent imprisonment in El Salvador as well? Is he open to that? Apparently, yes, he is.
If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that,
shouldn't she already know? Never mind.
No, don't you remember her confirmation hearing? She has to do a lot of reading.
Oh yeah. That's so wild. She's like, I will look into that.
I have a lot of reading to do about law, apparently.
There's way more than I thought there were. Okay. Whoa, all these books? It would take me like 10, 15 years. I'd be,
If we can do that, that's good. Pam, meaning Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. So he wants to send American citizens to foreign prisons where U.S. legal protections.
Darren says that Uncle Roger's a dick. The guy, Nigel's a dick.
Never meet your heroes, I guess.
Yeah, that sucks.
Don't apply at all, where people can be held for the rest of their lives without ever having a day in court or any sort of process. He says Attorney General Pam Bondi is, quote, studying the laws right now to see if he really could do it because he'd love to do it. It was only last week on Thursday when the Supreme Court ruled unanimously 9-0 in favor.
Jen Wallace in the chat says this all contravenes UN rules. Whole airlines refused to take immigrants to a country in Africa for the UK because they didn't want to fall foul of UN rules.
There's actually a local airline to New England who is contracted to transport immigrants, and
wow.
There was a protest and a counter protest yesterday at the headquarters, which is somewhere in Connecticut, to get this airline to not do that. I think it's called Avelo, and they fly out of Bradley Airport mostly, or like local airports, like super local. But yeah, so there's already protests going up about our airlines taking contracts with the government to deport immigrants. So that's a thing. And we should not fly on and protest any airline that is accepting government contracts to deport people. Because who knows? It could be fucking you next time.
Of a man named Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's a legal resident. He's a Maryland father. The Trump administration admits they sent him to that prison in El Salvador by mistake. The Supreme Court effectively ordered the Trump administration to facilitate this man's return to the U.S. from that El Salvadoran prison without explicitly defining what that would look like. The Trump administration has insisted that they can't return him, and they don't intend to. They said that the man's fate is up to the president of El Salvador for some reason.
I mean, he could have just rode on your plane.
Yeah.
I mean, you were literally going to D.C., which is where the court case was.
You could have brought him with you.
Could have just brought him with you.
And said, sorry.
Yeah, you can ride with me. I'm going actually to D.C. right now.
Yeah.
Today in the Oval Office, it was a reporter who finally asked El Salvador's president if he would please return this man to the United States. The El Salvadoran president called the question, quote, preposterous. Of course he wouldn't.
Preposterous, yes.
So we have here.
Oh, does she have the clip of it?
No, I don't think she has the clip of it. Do you have the clip of it?
I can get it.
Preposterous. Returning someone who is illegally deported. That the American Supreme Court said unanimously, we need to have that guy back. Preposterous. I don't know what the fuck Trump is doing over there. And the El Salvadoran president's like, oh man, this guy's a terrorist. What are we gonna do? Smuggle him back into the country?
Yeah.
Just bring him back. Just take him out of the prison and bring him back. And he's like, there's no way that we can do that. The U.S. government has already violated the Constitution and international law by doing this. And El Salvador is like, nah, but he's there forever now. It's a one-way ticket.
Return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country.
Not true.
I would like to say the growing cast of people that come to these they're supposed to be just like press splashes or whatever.
Right.
Where like it's a photo op for Trump and whoever he's sitting next to. Why is his whole fucking cabinet sitting there?
They don't have jobs.
Like, I understand maybe J.D. Vance. He's the vice president. He's got nothing else to do. Except for dropping football trophies. But they call him Butterfingers. Rubio fucking doesn't need to be there. He's just fucking window dressing. Pam Bondi doesn't need to be there. Whoever's on that other couch, they don't need to fucking be there.
Marco's there to translate. Just in case. Bring Marco in here. Bring it. Just have him sit on the couch next to JD. Yeah, put him between JD and What's her tits? Pam.
Oh, Mikey, it just occurred to me. This is The Apprentice. That's all this is.
Yes.
This is all fucking reality television.
He is in a weird fucking dementia dream, and he's on the set of The Apprentice.
He's just this is all TV for him. It's all a production. These are the people that he's going to end up firing at some point.
Right.
Except for Vance, he can't actually fire him. But I don't know how long any of these people actually last.
My Unfinished Journey says Vance is there because couch.
Hey, he is there because couch. If I was Rubio or Pam Bondi, I wouldn't sit on the same couch as JD Vance. I'm just saying.
I would make sure I'd have my own designated spot.
Yeah, I would be like, can I get a chair that he hasn't sat on?
Yeah, which spots have he been in so far? Not those.
You know what the vice president does in the Oval Office when people aren't there?
Smells the cow. Oh, he
Politicians. Well, that's about the only sin I've never committed. I mean, the one thing I've never done is sniff the throne of someone in power. I find that repulsive. I've never done it.
Back to the throne sniffing.
And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and
also not true.
He was illegally in our country.
Not true. So that's what's crazy about this is when you have journalists there, sometimes the journalists can be like, actually, that's not true. But this administration is not concerned with what's true. And this is the kind of information that Trump gets. He doesn't read any fucking reports. He asks Pam Bondi what happened. And she tells him. He asks,
it's a lie.
Yeah, or Kirsty Noem or fucking Rubio. That like he doesn't actually do anything. He just probably sits on his phone all day on speakerphone yelling and asking for more Diet Cokes.
Right. And that's exactly what he does, actually. The truth is that he did go to court because he had a hearing for asylum, and the court granted him legal status as someone seeking asylum.
The exact opposite of what she just fucking said.
The court said that he is legally allowed to be in the country.
Right.
And that he's not an illegal immigrant. He's an asylum seeker.
Yes.
And he was seeking asylum from El Salvador.
Yes.
He feared for his life in a country he's been put in prison now.
He literally did it the right way.
And now he's MS-13 or whatever, because based on whatever, they made a mistake. They admitted they made a mistake, and they're like, we're not bringing him back anyway. We don't care.
And to just outright pretend like you didn't just say that you made a mistake last week. Last week, you confessed that you made a mistake. So fix the mistake. Not just say a mistake was made. And also, I made up some reasons why it's not a mistake.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court unanimously, all 9 of them, said that you have to facilitate getting this guy back. And well, we're going to see what Trump has to say about all that.
Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled.
That's not up to us. The people who deported him to a place that he didn't want to be because he feared for his life. It's not up to us to bring him back. It's up to the world's coolest dictator to bring him back.
I think Jon Stewart said yesterday, I caught the tail end of his thing. It looks like a Miami club promoter.
That if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you. Stephen Miller, wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant. Because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question?
Shut shut your ass up and just get out of the way.
Yes, gladly. So,
oh my God, I didn't even fucking see him there. Whoa.
Who the fuck is that guy?
That's Stephen Miller.
Oh my God.
This is his new form.
Pam mentioned there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So,
is he from El Salvador and he's illegal, or is he the gang ringleader of MS-13?
Right.
Like, which one is it?
They can't even keep their story straight.
Is MS-13 from El Salvador, or is it from the prisons in California? Like, which one are you trying to say here?
with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration...
What? What are you even talking about? What does that even mean?
It doesn't. He was trying to get out of El Salvador because they were going to kill him.
Yeah.
He was immigrating to our country under asylum.
And I almost feel like I can hear the right wing response here. Well, maybe they got confused about the cases, and maybe they didn't think. Maybe they were talking about somebody else. That's what due process is for, so that you don't get it fucking confused. Because they're clearly talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the right guy. If I take them to be honest about what they're saying, which is a big stretch, they're clearly not talking about this guy. Because the court record shows a totally different line of events. So who are y'all talking about? That guy that y'all are talking about doesn't exist. And maybe that guy should go to fucking El Salvador. But that's not this guy. Who knows who the fuck y'all are talking about?
Courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know.
Alistair.
You're very familiar with the INA.
I don't think federal courts declare people MS-13.
No.
That's just my thought, but I don't think they're like, well, you're now legally MS-13, so...
The federal courts have a database of all of the prisons and all of the gangs, and they just keep a scoreboard, and then the Sweet 16.
That he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned.
That's not true.
It's not.
You just made that up.
Just because you're saying it doesn't make it fucking true, bro.
That isn't what happened.
The Supreme Court said that's not true.
Yeah.
They said you have to bring him back. He didn't get any due process. You just shipped him out of the country.
And that's and it's shocking that people believe this shit. Like they won't actually like look at any type of independent reporting that shows what this guy's court cases, the dates and order of them. But they're just gonna blanket believe what these guys are saying, and to lie about this guy's freedom, to just lie about it.
And, this is probably going to be clipped later and put on its own video. So I just want to say to the commenters right now.
Getting ahead of it.
If you guys let this go, if you're cool with this, the shit that Trump said at the beginning of this segment where he's like, the homegrowns are next, what makes you think he'll stop at criminals?
Anyone who disagrees.
What makes you think he won't just deport people he just doesn't like?
Right.
Or like all these press reporters who they're yelling at right now, or anyone like Marco Rubio could get deported because Trump doesn't like him anymore.
Right.
It's not about it's not even about immigration. It's about the parts of the Constitution that should matter. It's about the U.S. being a country that doesn't follow this sort of fascist rhetoric where it's like, well, we got to get all the criminals out and all the illegals are automatically criminals because they're here illegally. It's about being a country of laws.
Law and order. That's what they told me.
We're not a country of laws right now. We're just a country of whatever Trump says and whatever Stephen Miller echoes.
Yeah.
Whatever Pam Bondi thinks.
Well, that's a stretch, but
whatever she recently read.
Well, it's I mean, like RFK's brainworm, we can't see that. But this is Trump's brainworm. Stephen Miller over there, that is Trump's brainworm. He is the bigot who has been feeding him all of this migrant shit. It's him. He's the guy. And he's been on that shit since he was in college. I've been making fun of him. He's actually not that old. He's like our age, Tim.
I know.
I've been making fun of him for like 9 years. Because he's been a weirdo this entire time.
Yeah.
Because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the president could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador.
And that's literally not what they said.
Yeah, I'm going to look up what they said because it was a very short order.
Like he just contradicted exactly what Pam Bondi just said, where they said that you do need to bring him back. And then she said, well, we can't because he's in El Salvador. And then he's up here saying the Supreme Court said that we don't have to bring him back because the president said that he doesn't have to. Like they're just fucking lying. And they're telling two separate wrong lies right in front of this idiot. And he doesn't even know the difference. Like they can't tell the fucking difference anymore. They're all fucking stupid. Like they just told two separate lies about the same event. And Dum-Dum's back here with his fucking orange face just fucking nodding along, smiling. Like, yup. Didn't even realize that they're contradicting each other.
El Salvador, from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which is, I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged.
Have you looked at the fucking cabinet? Never mind.
The most barbaric activities in the world.
That's all fear tactics. That's all that is. And they say that about everyone they don't like. Oh, they rape, they murder, they kill, and all that stuff.
Trump's a rapist.
Yeah, like it's.
I'm pretty sure RFK killed a couple people.
It's all. I mean, it's all fear tactics. They just want you to be afraid of others, so that you will be okay with deporting them, and then you'll be okay with when they start deporting U.S. citizens.
Yep. This is all to soften you guys up.
Yeah. Trump said, he said it at the beginning of the clip. He said, the homegrowns are next. That means American citizens, us. Criminals or not. Us.
All the people at the network TV shows and stuff like that. Like journalists, lawyers.
Yeah.
Veterans who don't want to get in line. Shit, Joe Rogan ass might get deported.
The world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for it
Court's
to get it back?
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling.
See, that's the thing. He waits for someone who's actually read, he assumes, to tell him what that means. Trump does not comprehend what that fucking ruling said. Did you find it, Tim?
Yeah, so the Supreme Court said, or I'll put it in the chat for you so we can all read along.
Okay.
Just go to page 2 because the first part is background. The Supreme Court said the application is in part granted and denied in part, the subject to the direction of this order. Due to the administrative stay issued by the Chief Justice, the deadline imposed by the District Court is now passed. To that extent, the government's emergency application is effectively granted in part, and the deadline and the challenge order is effectively no longer effective. The rest of the court's order remains in effect, but requires clarification to remain.
Where you at?
In the middle of that paragraph there. Yeah. The order properly requires the government to facilitate Abreu Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador. So the Supreme Court said you got to get him back and you got to try him properly. The intended scope of the term effectuate in the district's court order is, however, unclear and may exceed the district court's authority. So the Supreme Court said the district court didn't have the authority to say this, but we do.
Right.
The district court should clarify its directive with due regard for the deference owed to the executive branch in the conduct of foreign affairs. For its part, the government should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it has taken and the prospect of further steps. The order foretold entered by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is vacated. So what the court did and what Stephen Miller was fucking twisting was they said the district court didn't have the authority to say this, but we do. And if the district court will clarify what effectuate means, we can move on. You need to get this guy back and you need to try him properly.
No,
that's what all 9 justices said.
But let's hear him say it again.
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. Well, no version of this legally ends.
It's not what it fucking says.
That's not what that said. We can read the whole thing if you want. It says that nowhere.
Fucking making up shit.
We can read the background. We can read the concurring opinions by the other justices. And nowhere does it say that.
We only got 2 pages left. Statement of Justice Sotomayor, with whom Justice Kagan and Justice Jackson joined, respecting the court's disposition to of the application. The United States government arrested Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia in Maryland and flew him into a terrorism confinement center in El Salvador, where he has been detained for 26 days and counting. To this day, the government has cited no basis in law for Abrego Garcia's warrantless arrest, his removal to El Salvador, or his confinement in a Salvadoran prison. Nor could it. The government remains bound by the immigration judge's 2019 order expressly prohibiting Abrego Garcia's removal to El Salvador because he faced a clear probability of future persecution there, and demonstrated that El Salvador's authorities were and would be unable or unwilling to protect him.
That's what I was saying, is that the court ordered that he cannot be deported to El Salvador because he was seeking asylum from El Salvador.
That's literally the place he was getting away from. And the courts all knew about this. So how is he illegal if the courts are all... application to vacate injunction 13A. The government has not challenged the validity of that order. So he's good.
Yeah.
He was on asylum for good reason. Instead of hastening to correct its egregious error, the government dismissed it as an oversight. Declaration of our Cerna and number 25 CV. Jesus Christ. The government now requests an order from this court permitting it to leave Abrego Garcia, a husband and father without a criminal record, in a Salvadoran prison for no reason recognized by the law. The only argument the government offers in support of its request that the United States cannot grant relief once a deportee crosses the border is plainly wrong.
And then she cites a couple of cases that say it's plainly wrong.
You go for it. I'm going to get some... Oh, you can see it, right? I'm going to get some coffee.
Yeah, I can see it. The government's argument, moreover, implies that it could deport and incarcerate any person, including U.S. citizens, without legal consequence, as long as it does so before a court can intervene. Because every factor governing requests for equitable relief manifests ways against the government, I would have declined to intervene in this litigation and denied the application in full. Nevertheless, I agree with the court's order that the proper remedy for this is to provide Abrego Garcia with all the process to which he would have been entitled to had he not been unlawfully removed to El Salvador. This means the government must comply with its obligation to provide Garcia with due process of law, including notice and opportunity to be heard in any future proceedings, and it must comply with this. And is there any more after that? It must comply with its obligations under the Convention Against Torture, see Convention Against Torture and other cruelty or inhuman or discarding treatment or punishment. Federal law governing detention and removal of immigrants continues, of course, to be binding as well, requiring a warrant before any non-citizen may be arrested and detained pending a decision on removal. In order to revoke conditional release, the government must provide adequate notice and promptly arrange an initial informal interview to allow the alien the opportunity to respond to the reasons for the revocation stated in the notification. Moreover, it has been the government's own well-established policy to facilitate an alien's return to the United States if the alien's presence is necessary for continued administrative removal proceedings. I think that's the part that he fucking twisted.
Mm-hmm.
He is taking Justice Sotomayor's words and twisting them to say, well, if he comes back, we're just going to redeport him again. But no, what she is saying is you have to have him come back so he can go through the right processes to see if we actually have to deport him.
Right.
In cases where a non-citizen has been removed pending immigration proceedings. Oh, yeah. Okay. I already read that. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Directive facilitating the return to the United States of certain lawfully removed aliens and the proceedings on remand, the district court should continue to ensure that the government lives up to its obligations to follow the law. By the way, that is some wild statements from any Supreme Court saying that the courts have to make sure that the government lives up to its obligations in following the law. So we read all of that except for the background, and we already know the background. Where in that does it say that the U.S. government can't go get him?
Or that El Salvador shouldn't feel compelled to do it. If El Salvador, and you see their president sitting right there, he should read this. Do you feel like you're in compliance to it?
Right.
Oh shit! I gotta send one. There's an accidental, so we gotta send them back. It's their constitution. It's what it is. As long as he's getting paid the same amount of money and we're paying for the jet, what is the fucking problem, guy?
Right. He was probably told, hey, don't do it. He was probably told when they ask you, say that we can't.
Right. Well, let's hear his response.
Up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to not suggesting that I'll smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
it's hard to hear him, but because he's mumbling. He said it would be illegal for me to smuggle a terrorist into the United States, I think is what he said. I'll hear it again.
Also not suggesting that I'll smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
And look at Trump's face. Now, y'all can't tell me. Look at his face. Watch his face. Here, I'll make it full screen. I want y'all to look at his face and watch his reaction to this guy saying this. And you tell me that he has read the Supreme Court's decision.
How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you can release him inside El Salvador?
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western.
Now, y'all keep promising me that he plays 4D chess and all that. He has no idea what's fucking going on, man. No idea. He has no idea that this is happening. This is all fucking brand new. He is learning about this in situ. They told him 5 minutes before they walked out there what he was talking about. He has no idea.
Yeah. And the only person, that told him about it is Stephen Miller. You can't trust a word that Stephen Miller says.
He's over here asking him, what was the decision? How did it come out?
Oh,
imagine if any president didn't know a huge Supreme Court decision, didn't know the voting. Imagine.
This is going back to Trump's trade representative not knowing about the change in the tariffs in that hearing.
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
WTF? Who's in charge?
By the way, we have a comment in the chat. Russell Cannon says it's too wordy though. They TLDR'd it and just look for something that they could read as it is agreeing with them.
Yeah.
That is, first of all, that's one of the shortest Supreme Court opinions you can find. 4 pages.
Yeah. That's why I didn't mind us reading it. I was like, look, we actually got one we can do. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah. And by the way, the Supreme Court is not agreeing with us.
Right.
We are reading a Supreme Court opinion that is contradicting what fucking Stephen Miller said about that Supreme Court decision. Like, we were pointing out the lies of Stephen Miller and the Trump administration as compared to all 9 justices of the Supreme Court saying, get this guy back. He needs to go through lawful proceedings.
You have to do it the right way. They can't, they're not your boss, but also you shouldn't have done it in the first place.
And that the Trump administration should tell El Salvador, hey, we need him back.
And Trump's sitting right there with fucking gumdrops skipping around in his head. Like, there is nothing going on up there, y'all. Stephen Miller is the puppet master at this point. Well, for this scene on stage. Because he look at him. He has no idea what's going on. He's just thinking about golf. He's fucking,
He's thinking. Did you see his annual physical report?
Oh my God.
Where
6'5", 215.
Yeah, he's like
1% body fat.
There, I saw some pictures of like comparing how Trump looks compared to like athletes who are actually that height and weight, and it's like, damn, I didn't know Trump had that in him. Oh, sorry, Russell, I thought that you were talking about us, not about Stephen Miller. I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to come at you.
Don't come at Russell. How dare you? You know what?
Shame!
That's what you get, Tim.
Shame!
Get off of Russell.
Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
They'd love to have.
But he's fleeing your murder capital. You see, that's why he left. Is because you were the murder capital. So he came up here to hide from your lack of governance, right? So he ran away from your government to go to this government, and now you're sending him back, but then saying that he needs to stay because he doesn't want El Salvadorans in El Salvador.
Right.
If you want, I mean, if I was El Salvador, I'd say, oh, he's a criminal, get him out of here. No, he's got a great record. He's a winner. He used to work at the orphanage, making kites with the orphans. Oh, he was such a guy. I'd pump him up, get him out of here, get them all out of here.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you're keeping him.
A criminal, released into
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people. Marco, do you have something to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegal.
Here we go. Here. Third time's a charm. They'll get it this time, Tim. They're gonna get it.
What is? He's like, oh, Marco. Hey, you want to take the mic for a few seconds? You want to?
He said, I cry enough as it is. I'm just kidding. I don't cry that often.
Legally in the United States and was
He always looks like he's about to weep.
I know.
returned
I know.
to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way, to Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We want a case.
That's not what they said.
They said that a district court said something that was too vague and not enforceable, and that they need to make it less vague, and then it's enforceable.
But in the meantime, he needs to come back while this is decided. Yeah. That's what they said. It's 4 pages.
9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But
why? Why? Because it's fun? Because we're them? Like, what are you talking about? Why? These people love releasing Wolverines into the kindergartens. Like, first of all, how do I acquire a Wolverine?
President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump, thank you so much. How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting?
And it just totally dodges it.
Yeah, well, he's like, I'm tired of answering this question. Let's move on.
How dare you remember what I said yesterday?
How dare you remember what happened yesterday?
It must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump, thank you so much. How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible. And I just asked the president, it's this massive complex that he built.
Pretty soon we're going to become this country.
Jail complex. I said, can you build some more of them, please? As many as we can get out of our country that were allowed in here by incompetent Joe Biden through open borders. Open borders. You probably hear open borders and you can't even understand it because nobody can understand. Nobody smart or with common sense can understand it. So
I think it's quite the opposite, actually. I think people who have common sense and are smart understand that what you're doing is insane. It's crazy. It's bonkers.
I mean, what is a country without a constitution?
Well, there's only a few options if you're not if you don't have a constitution anymore, and that's like monarchy, or like authoritarian, or bad and wrong.
This is what happens when crimes go unpunished.
Oh yeah, this is what happens when you elect people as president who are convicted felons for various things.
But hey, we'll get them in the midterms, huh? Unbelievable.
Will there be midterms? It is only April.
Oh,
It is
man.
only. We are at like almost the 90-day point for Trump. I know it feels like forever, but it's
I
only
feel
been
like we're
2
on
months.
year 6.
This is crazy. How can someone just like withstand this for? I don't even get it.
Somebody says country without a constitution equals a Walmart on Black Friday. Bedlam, I tell you. What midterms? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. Everyone hoping for the midterms better pray real hard that Trump decides that there should be elections in the future. Before he, deports everyone who opposes him.
Right.
Like, I don't know, guys. We seem to be backsliding pretty hard into authoritarianism. And Baldy McMiller over there is the architect of it. Him and that Vought guy who's in charge of OMB or OPM. Oh, by the way, I learned through one of our caseworkers at the Congresswoman's office that the Office of Personnel Management has today's Tuesday. Today they are getting rid of their caseworking department. They're getting rid of the department that handles problems people have with the government. Good. And our caseworkers are like, I don't know how that's going to fuck us over, but it's going to fuck us over.
Why would we need that?
Yeah, why would we need people to help when you have an issue with your Social Security check not showing up?
Because they're about to turn them shits off.
Yeah.
And before they turn them shits off, they're unplugging the phone.
They already did that at Social Security.
They're going to rip everything out of the wall and they're going to put it in the dumpster so that when people call to complain, there's no one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that when this shit goes bad and there's no way to get at that money anymore, there's no one to redress.
Yeah. Oh, that was another one of the first, the redress of grievances with the First Amendment. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore.
They literally gave away the fucking Constitution for eggs.
It's true. I mean,
they gave it away.
It's so crazy that they didn't want a black woman to be president. And now Trump will be, I assume, the last president.
The king.
He's going to declare himself the God Emperor of humanity. And I mean, that'll be the ball game.
I mean, is it Fallout time? Like, are we getting into like I got a frog in my. There we go. There is my voice.
There we
like
go.
Had a gurgle in there. But I guess that's Fallout. I mean, maybe the Covenant can land. That would be good.
Yeah,
that'd be a nice plot twist.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see any of this going too well in the next year.
Right.
I don't know how we're gonna make it to the midterms as a country, because Trump just admitted that he's open to deporting American citizens
for any reason that he can think of.
Yeah, well, first it's going to be their criminals, and we got to get rid of the criminals. But then it'll be, well, I don't like them.
Yeah.
I'm declaring them enemies of the state.
Being woke is now equivalent to terrorist.
Right. Yeah, no, if woke equals terrorism, I'm sure is going to be.
So we got to either put them in camps or send them to the prison camps in El Salvador. Or wherever else he can. Maybe North Korea will take some.
Yeah.
Just send people wherever the fuck you want to send them.
Fuck, man. That's all. All right, Mikey, is that the last clip we have?
I think this is the last clip for Earth.
Okay, I got one more clip.
We did have one more.
Okay.
As if it matters.
What was once a winning message for President Trump is now appears to be a growing liability. Harry, just stay here for a second.
Okay.
New polling shows independents are turning
You're not allowed to
somewhat
leave.
sour on President Trump's economic leadership right now with the rollout of his tariff agenda, and that's exactly what Harry Enton was doing, looking into the numbers to bring it to you. Okay, look, we're focusing in on independence on this one.
Yes.
So where does he
I
stand?
love
within the
Tesla.
kind of base?
Yeah, we'll focus in on independents here, and independents feel that Donald Trump has vacated the center of the electorate, catering to his base. What are we talking about? Well, let's talk about the overall net approval ratings. We're going to look at the worst ever at this point in a presidency. The old record among independents for the worst ever was Donald Trump back in 2016, a net approval rating of
Setting
minus
records
60.
everywhere he goes. That's Donald Trump.
points.
He just loves setting records.
He's a trailblazer. As far as like comets or meteorites go.
Well, Donald Trump has broken his own record here. He now holds, in this particular term, the worst ever net approval rating at this point in a presidency among independents at, get this, minus 22 points. He is 22 points underwater with independents. That breaks the old record that belonged to Trump. He has set the new record. He is complete.
He's really trying to get this Kornacki role, isn't he?
He really is, and I'm not about it.
I don't know, man. He doesn't. There's no bow tie.
Yeah,
I mean,
he doesn't have the style, man. You got to get the khaki pants and the
yes.
Just, you don't need the coat. Get rid of the coat.
Coat needs to go.
You're a data guy. You don't need coats.
Sweater vest.
Rolled up sleeves.
Sweater vest with the roll up sleeves. Yes, that's his thing. That's his move. Because this is not going to work. It's not going to work. We're trying to help you.
Completely underwater with the center of the electorate, Kate Baldwin.
And this is overall. This
Yes.
is on all the issues. Now, focusing specifically on the economy.
Yeah, let's focus in on the
this is going to go well.
Economy, right? What is driving this overall approval rating for Donald Trump among independents to go underwater? Let's take a look at the economy, and let's take a look at Trump's net approval rating on
a 30-point swing in 3 months. Jeez.
Sheesh.
And look at the trend line over just the last few months. You go back to January, he was slightly above.
I got to stop saying stuff like that. Well, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. So when you guys, when we say your stuff, you'll end up in the clip that's played later. So
yeah.
I forgot to say something about that earlier because it's funny because it'll just be like, "Hey, Ollie," in like the middle of a story. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Oh.
Water with independents at plus 1 point. Look at this drop, Kate. Oh my, minus 29 points. That's a 30-point drop in under 3
He talks like the kid's pediatrician.
months of time. What independents are hearing from Donald Trump, they hate. They hate what they're hearing from Donald Trump, and they are abandoning him in record numbers. At this point in his last presidency, he was about at even, at 0 points in terms of his net approval rating on the economy, and now he's at minus 29 points. You go back.
Like, dude, independence, what the fuck were y'all thinking he was going to do?
I don't know.
The hopium and the copium are just like big clouds coming up out of the independent side, man. And same thing with these MAGA dudes. Like, they're all just like, what would possess you to think that he knew what the fuck he was doing?
I really don't get it. And as a political scientist, it boggles the mind that so many independents were duped into this.
Just, there's no way his shit would have worked. It was fucking obvious.
And to answer Russell's question, who are independents? They're unaffiliated voters. They're not registered with a party.
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested.
All of them.
So I think the large problem is that a lot of unaffiliated voters are conservative leaning.
Yeah.
And so that they do buy into a lot of the Trump stuff. I don't know why they bought in so hard, because they either choose to be unaffiliated because they don't like the party, or they don't like certain aspects of the party, or they just don't like political parties in general. That is a thing that happens. Like people are just like, I don't want to be associated with that organization or any organization. But the problem is, and the problem I run into in my own elections is that independents tend to lean conservative a little bit, and so
at least socially.
Yeah, at least socially. They'll come and say, I'm not registered with a party, but I believe that we should all have guns and no one should take away our guns. And I want low taxes. Like, that's the kind of stuff that happens. And it's been happening more and more with the parties. Like, there are fewer overall registered voters with the parties than there are more unaffiliated voters all the time. The parties are losing ground on this all the time because they suck. The Democrats and the Republicans suck.
Scott in the chat says, doesn't matter about the approval rating. God damn it. Stop sliding back down. This chat widget. It doesn't matter about the approval rating when it's become an irrelevance. They're not across politics, though. He appeals to people's lowest common denominators. Yep. He gave them bigotry. Because it wasn't like the lie was the economy. The reality was get the Browns out of here.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what he was saying. We're gonna onshore all these jobs. That's just another code for getting rid of brown people.
Yeah.
Like made in America is code for made by white people. That's what he means.
I saw a post the other day that was like, oh, we're going to get all these manufacturing jobs back, but they're all going to be shit unless they're unionized. Like if you onshore all these manufacturing jobs, they're going to be like minimum wage, below minimum wage or whatever.
Yeah.
Shit jobs that no one's going to want to do.
Well, it's not going to be in anyone's best interest to do those jobs. Even if somebody wanted to do that job, they can't sustain themselves on it. So
yeah.
They won't be able to afford to live here doing that job. They won't pay enough. So no one's going to do it. You'll have to take a job that can actually pay your bills. You're not going to take a job that doesn't pay your bills.
And it's not like we're disparaging the people who do those jobs. Like it's not.
No, I'm not.
It's not a classist thing. It's not because I've done those jobs. I did them for I don't even know how many years.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a packing facility for Macy's. I worked at various fast food jobs, and various jobs that were like hard labor, and I know what it's like. And I would like everyone to, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. Those jobs, if we get manufacturing back, it should be unionized because
100%.
unions provide better wages and better benefits, and everyone does better. I want everyone to do better.
And sorry for cutting in, but I hate the way that everything is framed, because it's always framed like the unions are just going to come in there and then like the companies can't make any money. They make plenty of fucking money. Like we need to stop pretending like these corporations are not unfathomably wealthy. They are being greedy. They have to turn off the greed taps.
Right.
That is the problem. That is the sole issue that we are dealing with. Fucking Martin Luther King talked about this in fucking 1968. Like, you can't hoard the wealth that the nation does generate. You can't hoard it because we can't have anything. And now everyone's pissy because they feel like the brown people or the gays or whoever is getting more attention and more money and more support and more Okay, let's look at the numbers. It's all the corporations just literally robbing people left, right, and center. And all the politicians say, it is the brown people. Like, what are we talking about? It's capitalism, stupid. Just text the corporations fairly for a year. Just do it for a year.
Right.
And see if all the companies shut down. Just do it for a year.
And like not taxing them has not worked.
Yeah, that seems to be making the problem worse.
They're not creating more jobs. They're just centralizing where the money goes. Like they're doing stock buybacks. They're putting the money in the pockets of CEOs who are making like 1,000 times what employees make at this point. Like, they're not creating jobs. They're not putting money back into the economy. They are keeping the money because they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like they knew that if fucking Elizabeth Warren or somebody like that got in there, they were cooked.
Yeah.
The walls were closing in.
I'm sure they were pretty fine with Kamala Harris being president.
Yeah.
Because Kamala Harris wouldn't have changed much. Her whole economic strategy was just to give people a little bit more and use companies to like create an opportunity grant or whatever. I don't really remember what her economic strategy was, but it was the status quo.
I think there was some stuff about price gouging in there.
Yeah, she wanted to stop price gouging, especially when it came to eggs, because that was the thing at the time, right? And by the way, eggs hit a new average high yesterday. So
thanks, Joe Biden.
Thanks, Joe Biden. But the one thing the corporations didn't want to happen was those Trump tax cuts to go away, which they were slated to at the end of 2025. So that's why the corporations were pro-Trump, because they would get to keep their huge tax breaks and the rich would get to keep their huge tax breaks and they'd probably get more. But it's not good for us overall to do that. I don't know how many times we have to explain it, but taxes are what make the country run. And you either have a country or you don't. And at this point, it seems like Trump and the Republicans don't want to have a country.
No. Christy in the chat, unions also fight for health and safety improvements within workplaces,
yes,
which are expensive.
Yes.
Which cut into profits.
Now, unions aren't like the be all end all, right? Unions do have problems. There's corruption in unions.
Yeah,
and sometimes you can get caught up in that. But overall, unions are a net positive for the workforce. They just are. Studies have shown that where there's a union, there are better benefits, there are higher wages, and like Mikey said, safety standards are higher.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to do any of that anymore. We would rather have lower taxes. At this point, you could tax me at like 50%. I wouldn't give a fuck.
Because and the other part is like them saying we're going to lower taxes, and then that's what makes the tariffs make sense. That's why we're going to pay more for all of our goods, because he's getting rid of. It's like, you poor fools. Like, that's not how any of this is going to work. Like, I wish what y'all were saying was true, because even if I didn't like it, it would work. But that's not even close to being anywhere near reality.
Right.
Like, none of that shit's going to happen. And if they say, oh, there's going to be no taxes for people under $150,000. And then what will fund anything? Because the rich people ain't paying shit.
Right.
And what happens if countries just don't trade with us? Like, they're banking that everybody's going to just, keep getting the shit that what if they don't?
Right.
What if we get completely isolated and we've just self-embargoed ourselves?
Right. What if China says, hey, everyone else, let's all make a trade pact against the United States?
What if China just literally just comes out in the morning and says, Taiwan, we're cool. Everybody against the U.S. Like, that's all they have to say. And we're fucked. We're so fucked. Like, he has tried to put us in the absolute worst position possible. Like, he is making Iran and China look good.
Which is not a great thing.
No,
not
right.
a great thing.
And he's doing it at record pace.
He is doing it at record pace. Scott in the chat said Olbermann would approve.
Maybe Keith Olbermann and fucking Rage Against the Machine, man. That's all it took. That's all it took. And Prison Song.
Oh man, Prison Song. Yeah. And the deer dance.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Fire through the eyes of a heart with a smile when he flew over the bay.
Oh man.
So I think it's called Soul Boom. It's Rainn Wilson's podcast. Have you heard of it?
I think I've heard of it.
Serge Tankian is on there.
Oh.
It is a very cool conversation.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Should we?
I'm trying to find some like feather to stick in the cap, something to laugh at or something.
Well, I posted in the chat.
Oh, well, slap my face and call me Sally.
Huh. So this is a little bit of
used to ridicule.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's at the wrong timestamp. Oh no. Hold on. Go
let me try the other one.
3 minutes.
Used to ridicule.
3 minutes and 26 seconds.
3:26.
So this is regarding our earlier episode about Gutfeld, and when we said that he's not funny, and this is sort of a reason why he's not funny.
Including Scorpio Patriot.
Cody, come on the show.
Yeah, Cody, we'll talk. We'll be friends.
We will not be awkward.
Not at all.
Pressing play now.
But heck, maybe we're all.
Unless you don't want me to, Cody, because I could totally not do it.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want to do, man, it's cool. You can be first player.
Bias and conservatives are actually hilarious, and liberals just don't find them funny.
So, do you remember Newton's law?
Oh, yeah, Gutfeld.
Not that Newton, this Newton. Not that Newton, this Newton. There we go. Whew. That went over really well. Isaac Newton.
What the fuck? Bro told me in the comments that fucking homeboy was fucking mint. Are you kidding me right now? Run it back, man. I didn't get the joke. I didn't get it. Run it back.
Newton, this Newton. Not that Newton, this Newton. There we go. Whew. That went over really well.
Oh, boy.
Yo, he is ass. Yo, your man is ass. Yo, your jokes are cheeks, boy. Ass.
Isaac Newton once said that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, meaning much like my nightly massage therapist.
Oh, Jesus. This is going to land like a sack of bricks.
Forces always come in pairs.
Nope, it's not that. Objectively speaking, that was very bad comedy. That is, of course, Gutfeld and his opening jokes pointing out that several things are, in fact, named Newton, followed by the line, and I'm going to directly quote him here, much like my nightly massage therapists, forces always come in pairs, as a punchline intro to a segment. And it's okay if you didn't fully understand what he said just then, because his delivery reads like someone who just learned what words are. That's definitely...
The GOAT. He's so good at this.
Only his first problem. See, what Gutfeld has there is a throwaway joke meant to bridge two subjects, something you would want to say naturally and fast that isn't hard to understand, like when I'm thanking my 2 massage therapists for their hard work. He's doing a casual simile, where the twist is that what you're comparing says something absurd about yourself. An actual example of this structure would be saying something like, comedy is about tone and texture, something that, much like my weird smooth balls, Greg Gutfeld lacks. The joke is that I have weird, smooth, pale little boy testicles, you see. And by setting up a comparison between Greg Gutfeld and my balls, I could further elaborate by saying something like, and also like my weird balls, Greg Gutfeld is empty inside. And so on. Look, it's not perfect, but my point is that I'm giving your brain something that's easy to digest. Like my weird balls.
Rule of threes. He got me.
The problem with Gutfeld's joke is that he wanted to land on the phrase, forces always come in pairs. So the natural joke writing instinct would be to take one of the words and give it a double meaning. Something like, much like a Sith and apprentice, forces always come in pairs. Or perhaps, much like a fruit fetishist, forces always come in pairs. See? Words are neat. But Greg actually does the opposite of this, creating a simile that makes your brain have to work backwards to understand it. A massage therapist, when doing a massage, presses and rubs on muscles that a fucking alien might perhaps define as a force. He's saying his massage, or his force, comes in pairs, like his nightly massage therapists. So what he's ultimately saying is just, I get a massage from 2 people every night, as his ultimate joke. And that's the ending problem, which is that the final observation being made isn't creative or absurd or funny or an observation or unexpected, but rather confusing. Why do you have 2?
And that is why Greg Gutfeld is not funny. He does not know how to do jokes.
Him and Joke are not friends.
He is not a person that knows how to write comedy. And I don't think anyone in his fucking writer staff, which he probably has, knows how to say jokes either.
Why should they have to learn?
Cody just explained perfectly how comedy writing works.
Yes.
And Greg Gutfeld didn't follow any of those rules. Even we mentioned it. You mentioned the rule of threes.
It's just instinctual, you know? I'm just like fucking naturally fucking gifted.
Read one book about comedy, Gutfeld. One. It doesn't matter what it is. You're going to learn the same stuff.
Is it me, or does he have his fucking thing to look like Garfield?
It does kind of look like
that. It's the font, right? It's just not as bubbly. But that's the Garfield font. And he looks a little like the cat.
Yeah. And like the fucking Newton joke, great. It's a sight gag. We get it. But it's not actually funny.
Well, that really got awry.
He even knew that his joke wasn't funny.
Not that Newton. Not that Newton. This Newton. Not that. Come on, brother. And like, y'all told me, yeah, he is funny. He's great. Gutfeld's great.
He's the funniest guy on Fox News.
And that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. Oh.
Pretty soon we're going to be calling this country.
Shame. Shame.
So Mikey, that was my feather in the cap. A little bit of Cody to end the show with.
Cody to end the showdy.
I'm not eating
yes,
eggs.
you are.
I'm not eating
yes,
eggs.
you are.
I'm not eating eggs.
Yes, you are.
I'm not eating eggs.
Dude, I made a fried egg. I made fucking got myself. I made a fried egg sandwich the other day, like bodega style.
Yeah.
Little catsup on that bitch. Scrambled with cheese.
That's egg and cheese sandwiches is always a good time.
I feel like an elitist.
You have your eggs fried instead of scrambled?
Had a $30 sandwich.
Bourgeoisie over here.
You know, things are going pretty good over in the famine household.
You know, scrambled egg is the egg of the proletariat.
That's right. Scrambled with cheese for the working man.
For the working man.
Who can do lactose. Some people can't do lactose.
Ketchup is the sauce of the bourgeoisie.
Maybe I said hot sauce. I said salsa.
Hot sauce is the working man's ketchup.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, God, that was close. Almost got wrenched. So if you've lasted this long.
Well, I did this. Why can't you?
I'm going to need you to go ahead and hit the like button. I'm going to need you to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to need it to happen. We're very close to monetization.
We're so close.
And, I can almost taste it. It's going to be great.
It may or may not happen today. However, because of the delay in YouTube's algorithm or analysts or whatever, it probably won't actually happen to us until Friday.
Time out. We've been challenged in the chat.
What's the challenge?
Kay says real proletariats poach and hard boil.
Hard boiled. Yes, hard boiled egg is the egg of the worker.
Poached. Oh, you got water? you got pots and water and a heat source?
And a little bit, and you need a little bit of vinegar too.
Yeah, that's true. You do need a little vinegar. You got all that shit? Clearly part of the bourgeoisie. I just have a rock that's been sitting out in the sun.
Yeah.
And then I just crack the egg right on it and I put cheese on there.
And he found some stale bread and just made a sandwich out of it.
There was a bread tree very close by, and a loaf had just fallen to the ground, and I blew it off.
You took the bark off the tree, and that was your bread.
At the park.
See, we're funnier than Gutfeld.
Dude, I was thinking, like, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. But I'll say this on the air. Tim.
What?
You're doing a new show.
I'm doing a new show?
We're going to do it on one Sunday a month.
Oh, thank God.
And guess what it's going to be?
What?
Fucking pub quiz.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be the pub quiz master. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it one Sunday a month.
Okay.
Okay. I need this cat to not. What are you doing? Sir. I'm putting you down.
He's like, no, don't put me down.
So I'm not feeding you.
Feed me now. I'm a cat.
Look at this motherfucker.
I care not for your human wants.
Dude, I'm allergic to you.
I must rub myself all over you.
I don't want. This is Dexter. Here. Because this is good for the algorithm, I bet.
Yeah.
This is Dexter. Stop.
He's like, I must rub myself.
Don't rub on my microphone.
I must slowly kill you, human.
He is purring like a freaking Ferrari right now. Like, dude, you're not supposed to be doing any of this. Okay? This is not okay. This is not good. You're not being a good cat right now. Let me go. Let me go. Come on.
So,
dude, my hoodie. Bro, my clothes.
To make sure that Mikey lives through his cat torment, like and subscribe on YouTube. Patreon.com/TheBinPodcast. Become a patron. There's new content up there. It's Brenna. She has a new show that we're doing.
Yes.
There'll be other content. I'm gonna put together like omnibus episodes of like just like JD Vance clips and just like Elon Musk clips.
I like it.
And yeah, like I said, next time you see us, we might have super chats. I don't know.
That'll be sweet.
So get that bank account ready.
Sunday pub quiz is a great idea. Yeah.
Send us the money.
Or should we do Jeopardy?
Jeopardy is too hard. Pub quiz. I don't wanna do Jeopardy.
You think it's too hard? I mean, I'm not playing in the game, so I could help.
Oh, I mean, maybe. Who's playing in the game? Is it the chat?
I think we bring people up. You know what I'm saying? And like get them in a call and like have them play Jeopardy. Like like we have like a game show.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
And you can be the Steve Harvey. Top 10 answers on the board.
Show me potato salad.
I mean, that's not funny. Show me Fig Newtons. That's a callback, everyone. When Gutfeld comes in a pair, non-neutral. Oh, gross. Oh, God.
See, even K's funnier than
Oh, worst funny. Gross. But I think that'll be fun. Because we do, I mean, the earth is burning down, but I am happy that we are like getting some traction here. So let's have fun with the people while we can.
Yeah, and you know, it's good for us to have fun too, because like,
yeah,
if it's all the sad stuff, then it really gets to you.
I'm very stressed out.
That's kind of why we do the banter in the beginning, to like start in neutral. You don't want to start in like fifth gear on that stuff.
Darren says, the secret of a pub quiz, from a UK point of view is that there should is that it'd be at a time when Brits are drinking. So any times after 9 a.m. basically.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That makes a lot of sense.
I want to catch them early.
All right, Mikey, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Make like a tree and get the fuck out of here.
Because I'm hungry.
Word. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
I did this. Why can't you?
Oh, we're not starting.
What?
Not again.
What? Why can't you? Why can't you?
Why can't you?
I'm doing that Kendrick Lamar dance.
I did this. Why can't you? Have you ever been wrong? I was like, no. Drug. I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Why can't I'm gonna need you to be drug? I'm gonna need you to be drug. Why?